call the meeting for the Calexico Unified School District meeting to order. Madam President Ruth B. Duarte is not present. I will be taking over her duties for the time being until she returns. And if we can please have a roll call.
Trustees present are Kim, Valenzuela, Romo, and Aguilar. Trustee Duarte is absent. You have a quorum.
Thank you. Mr. Ureña, can you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance? Thank you. Members, you have the agenda before you. Are there any corrections, or what is the wish of the board? Is there a motion?
Second.
Motion by Mrs. Romo, second by Mr. Valenzuela. Discussion?
Yes, I have discussions.
Mr. Kim.
We have a regular meeting supposed to be put the 72 hours before the meeting. A lot of we post it, and later on they're just modifying, review, or modifying, change around. And a lot of the backup documents, they're not putting the 72 hours before the meeting. I understand the lawyer said not necessary to have 72 hours, but again, we are failed to community to show our transparency. Even though some of the item, we don't have backup item yet. And loan documents and loan process, we don't have any documents here. It's a problem also. Not even public, not board members. How are we going to make the right decision for the community? This one is our board members to promise to the community to transparency. What is transparency? I said the secrecy. They just secret around, hiding around. They just don't give the community to have right information.
Mr. Kim, do you have something on the agenda that you wish to modify or change?
Modify? I'm not saying the how we put. My
Okay.
discussion is the how we put the agenda is wrong.
Okay.
I'm still entitled to the right agenda. I'm talking.
Mr. Fergali, were the notices posted as they should be?
All of them were posted except some information that we received today, and we wanted it on the webpage as quickly as we received it. I think there's a presentation regarding that tonight.
Madam President, the only requirement with respect to the agenda is that it be posted. Regular meetings must be posted 72 hours in advance. The only legal requirement is that the item described in 20 words or less the item that will be discussed at the board meeting. Backup material there's no requirement that backup material be posted with the agenda. But the only question that needs to be asked is whether the board secretary has posted the agenda within the 72 hours required by law.
And was that done?
Yes, it was.
Thank you.
The before 72 hours were completed, but alas, the backup document is not there before the 72 hours.
It's not.
Even they send me
Mr. Kim, it's not a debate. Let's move
Okay.
forward. We have a motion. We have a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 No.
Aye.
Motion passes 3-1. Superintendent's report, cash status update. Maya Randall. Can you please come to the podium?
While Mike comes up, let me read a letter, Madam Chair, from Mrs. Mallory, Imperial County Superintendent School, the official letter. I am pleased to notify, dear board members and Superintendent Fergali, I am pleased to notify you that in accordance with Education Code Section 42-127D, I have approved your 2012-2013 adopted budget, which you submitted to me for review. My business office has determined that the 12-13 adopted budget satisfied the state standards and criteria for fiscally stability. So we're safe. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Ms. Randall?
Yes, we have an approved budget through ICOE. Testing. Testing 1, 2, 3. Good evening, board members. As per your request on our last board meeting, you wanted to know, since there won't be an updated cash throughout the up until June, I wanted to provide you with the cash balance as of today. And as of today at 5:17 p.m., our cash balance is a little over $10 million. That's what we have available in cash in the bank. And just so that you are aware, that includes the prior year June deferred apportionment, as well as a portion of our July 2012-13 apportionment. So that is our cash balance as of today.
Board members, do you have questions? Starting with Mrs. Romo at my left.
Very good. No questions.
Mrs. Romo, no questions?
No questions.
Mr.
Okay.
Kim?
Yeah, we have a $10 million for the budget, cash balance. But I don't see any what's called the categorical fund in put it together.
That's all a part of the general fund, which is Fund 1.
Okay.
And since this is all the cash in the bank, so it doesn't break it up by categorical funds. It's just what we have available. It's a commingling of the unrestricted and the categorical funds. This is our fund, our cash balance as of today, which includes unrestricted and restricted categorical funds.
But why not this time they're not separated?
In
Like
the
it
cash,
used
well, that's what that long sheet, if we're talking about the same thing, remember that's not going to be updated until we finish the year-end close process. So you'll have an updated cash flow once we finish, because we're still working and we're still posting in cash and moving and doing journal entries. So the cash will change from program to program, and we'll have to book revenues and all of those things which do affect cash.
Yeah, but we're not requesting about the end of year report. We were requesting the time of being every monthly basis, how much we have, how much we left, and how much we received. The general fund and categorical fund supposedly separated like last time. That way we're going to know how much general fund and categorical fund is left over with us.
Right, and since we're working in the business department to still update through June 30th, you're not going to have a real accurate amount if the ending cash isn't correct, which would be your beginning cash for July. So this is the cash, which is what I thought we had talked about at the last board meeting, that you wanted to know the cash balance as of a particular point in time. So this is our cash balance as of today.
Yes, I want information categorical fund as well.
And
we used to have it. We have it. Why not this time? I'm not asking whole year and closing the book. We were asking time by time, probably like 12 or 15 of every month, that we have all the whatever we money received, whatever we money paid after that, and also we have a categorical fund and general fund. That way we have this project money is how much we have right now, how much we balance. We don't have this on the hand ourselves.
And again, Mr. Kim, that's all a part of the cash flow form, which again, it's not updated. And I think you need to understand that the general fund consists of unrestricted general fund and cash, as well as the restricted categorical cash. So this $10 million is inclusive. It's for both of them.
That's what I'm saying. That
And
we
the-
have
and
$10
what
million,
I'm-
we're not going to know how much we have a general fund and how much you got money is a category fund. That's
And-
what I asked you last time. You ignored my question or request. You just giving me the other answer.
No, I didn't ignore it. I was very clear in the fact that we're still updating the cash flow form. And the form that you're asking for, which breaks it down by the categoricals, which I provide to the board every month,
Yes.
we're not finished for June. So I can't provide you one for July because we're not finished with June as we're going through the year-end close process.
And that was
Yeah, but
that
what I'm
was
saying is
stipulated.
June 15 or June 12, whatever came out. I'm not asking the closing the years. I'm not. I'm asking
Mr. Kim, if
June
I
or
may
this
interject, that was presented. You did present. That was the last one you
No,
presented,
the last time
correct?
didn't present
It was updated through May because we're
updated
still
through
closing
May.
the books through June 30th. That is
And
correct.
you won't be able to do it until you close
It'll
out
be
the
a
whole
part
thing.
of the unaudited actuals presentation in the beginning of September.
I think that's what was made clear at the last board meeting, and it's the same question that you asked then, and it's the same answer that she gave you last time, and it's the same answer that she's giving you
Yes,
again this
but
time.
I'm not asking.
I'm
the
not going to
question.
belabor the point, Mr. Kim. It's not a debate.
Well, I'm not debating. I'm
Yes, you-
questioning
yes,
why
you-
not giving me.
No, you were provided an answer, the same answer that she provided
So
last
you want to make the
meeting.
decision
I'm not
without
going to debate
information.
this. Let's move forward. Mr.
Thank
you, Board members.
Superintendent?
Thank you. My first item is regarding a contract that Mrs. Duarte recommended to me. I have talked with the people from it's called California Consulting. What they do is they write, their whole job, or the whole business is writing grants. They have different options. We can either do a retainer. If we do a retainer, it means that they will write as many grants as we ask them to write. That's one option. Another option is taking a percentage of each grant that they write, but they'll only write 2. And then they have a third one that's way out of line that we wouldn't consider. And it's still, when Mrs. Duarte gets here, she'd like to speak to it, but she wanted me to mention it. Last year, this consulting company received, where they worked and were able to get over $4 million worth of grants. We talked with the city today regarding possibility of the pool. That's one of the grants that they could possibly write. We will, as I said, Mrs. Duarte wants to speak to it at the time, but she wanted me to mention it. We were asked what the process was for starting to bring staff back, which we're requesting that you approve for tonight up to the approximately 25. I think we're asking you for 27. Our process is that for the elementary, for K-6, it's strictly by seniority, through the seniority list. From 7-12, it's seniority by program. For example, if we're going to bring back 3 math teachers, we would take the 3 senior math teacher. That's the process.
I've got a question. Go back to when you're talking about seniority. When the layoffs were issued, they were issued by particular kinds of service seniority?
They were issued primarily by seniority, but yes, they were also by program.
It was a PKS.
It was a PKS.
PKS,
So
yes.
are they being brought back in the same fashion?
Yes,
So it's by PKS,
yes.
seniority, not seniority across the board.
No, not seniority.
It-
For K-6, it's seniority, because all of those teachers have basically the same credential. They have a
Okay.
K-8 credential. The program is from 7 to 12.
Okay.
That's more, okay.
Okay. All right.
The next item is pre-kindergarten. That was a question that was brought up, and I'm asked Maria to share with the board the pre-kindergarten.
Okay, the update for the transitional kinder program. What I'm passing out to the board members is that on the board meeting of April 19th, brought just as an information item, that we would be having the transitional kinder program for the 2012-13 school year, if that was what the state was mandating. And at the time, the state still hadn't clarified whether or not we were going to be obligated as a district to actually have the transitional kinder program. I believe in late June, it did come across to us that we had to have it. And just as a reminder, the transitional kinder is not necessarily a preschool, but it's a 2-year kindergarten program. So with the purpose of the first year of the second year of the 2-year program is the transitional kinder part, and that first year would be for students who are entering kinder having reached the age of 5 between November 1st and December 1st. And as the years progress, next year they would move it up from October 1st to December 1st. Then the year after that, they would move it up to September 1st through December 1st. The whole goal is that by the time that children enter kindergarten, they should have reached the age of 5 by the age of September in order to be in a regular kinder classroom. Otherwise, they would be in the transitional kinder, which is a 2-year program. And so what we presented as information in April was that we would have the program dependent on the amount of students that were registering or enrolling in the program. Currently, we have 49 students district-wide that qualify for the transitional kinder. 6 of them are west of Imperial Avenue, Highway 111, and the balance are east of that boundary. In order to try to keep it as balanced as possible, we opted for the school site to be Rockwood Elementary School, with one full-time equivalent serving a double session. It would be 8 to 11 or 8:15 to 11:15 or 11:30 for the first session, and then the teacher would take her lunch, and then she would have the PM session. She would also have, he or she, it doesn't have to be a she, but he or she would have a second, 2 paraprofessionals in the classroom with her or him. At this point, we have staffed that, or have offered the position to a teacher who, based on an HR recommendation that she needed to be placed in a K-6 assignment, she was given the opportunity to request a school site and grade level. And, after meeting with her, this was the position that she opted for at the time.
Thank you.
Thanks, Maria.
So I have a question for that.
Yes, sir.
That should we hire more teachers, or current teachers we can handle this one?
She is one of our current employees, yes.
No.
So I
That's
mean,
not okay.
all these programs. I'm talking about all these programs.
Can you repeat her? She didn't understand your question.
Yes. Was transition kinder. Do we have obligate to hire more teachers, or whatever we have teachers, they can do this job? Because we're gonna have more extra time.
We have a teacher that is on our staff now that will be teaching it. We will not go outside to hire. No.
So we don't need to have a more staff, which is a staff of whoever
This
one
is-
else we have number. can
This
be
is
enough
one of
to
the
do it?
staff members who was not laid off,
No,
who
Miss-
needed to be placed in a position.
Hmm.
And she was given this particular teacher was given the option of naming a school and a grade at the elementary level. After discussion with Ms. Ambrose, she opted to select with the transitional kindergarten. So that's where she wanted to go, and that's where we placed her.
Yes, so my question
Mr.
was again,
Okay, Mr.
in
Kim,
order
I'm
to
sorry.
cover all the district, don't we need more teachers or not?
Do we need
For the transitional,
Yes.
no,
We don't
just
need
the one.
We just need one teacher.
Right. We have 49 students, but they're half a day each.
Okay. thank
Now,
you.
if the number of students increases and we exceed the numbers allowed by the ACT contract in the regular classroom, then we would have to seek putting another staff member in addition to that. And then at that point, we would probably have to decide whether or not we would have to place a transitional kinder classroom at another school site, to balance it out as well.
Okay, thank you.
So that one teacher will cover, I'm sorry, if I may. So
Yes,
that
sir.
one teacher will cover, one full-time teacher will cover the morning session and afternoon session
Yes, sir.
with the
Okay.
49 students.
Yes, and should the numbers grow in that, because my executive assistant has told me that we have gotten more calls of people interested in the transitional kinder program. So if their children meet the requirements of transitional kinder and the numbers do grow, then we may see ourselves in the need to fill another classroom at another site
Okay.
for transitional kinder.
There's
Maria,
also,
pero it's a new position, no? It's for the...
well, it's a new position because we've not had it before, but we're filling it with one of our staff members.
Yes.
It's correct, is it?
Yes. There's one caveat that we don't know I'm not sure we have final decision on that. Dr. Spencer, do we know for sure? There's some talk about having to charge the parents. Not for that. Okay, all right. I stand corrected.
And yes, and to clarify what Dr. Spencer was saying, that transitional kinder does accrue ADA for the district.
Thank you.
And Dr. Spencer, you had a response for Ms. Aguilar's question to you. Why don't you do it? Why don't you?
Go ahead.
You want to do it now? Let's do it now.
Thank you.
Good evening. The question that was asked was about the Easy SES software program that we had been looking into. And Ms. Aguilar had asked if we had looked at any other companies. The dollar amount that we had was low enough that we didn't need to go out for bid due to regulations. But we did go in and look at 2 other companies that offer the same service. And if you will look at the spreadsheet that's provided, we asked several questions and tried to compare the services. There are yeses and nos for all. The yeses that were important to us, the Easy SES company met. Oh, I'm sorry. The bottom line is that on the 3rd page, it has the prices for the 3 different companies. And Easy SES was the least expensive of the 3 that we looked at.
Okay, can you move it to the first page so that the public can see exactly the type of services that so that they can see the comparison, please?
And the things that we were looking at was if they would provide a data system that would allow us to monitor student progress, and that it would work effectively with the providers that provide the SES services for our students and the tutors that work for them. We were looking for a final report that would show our academic growth. And the main thing was we wanted to be able to evaluate the effectiveness of the different service providers so that we can make information available for our parents so they can make an informed decision. They're dedicating a lot of their children's time to this SES tutoring, and we want them to make sure that they're getting the most that they can get from it. And this was just completed today, is why you didn't have it before.
I've got a secondary question. On
Sure.
the second page, it says that training, district staff will receive training.
Yes.
So it says yes, but only for one staff member.
And the staff member that right now it's our thought to train would be the secretary who handles this, the SES contracts, and then she could be a trainer of trainers if we needed anyone else trained.
Okay.
You're talking about this one, so the ACES program.
No, this is SES program, the supplemental educational services.
This is
These
for
are-
like the tutoring services?
Yes, it's the tutoring services.
It's not an action item, just a
Just
report.
information.
Okay,
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
thank you.
Madam Chair, that's all I have for today.
Okay,
Thank you, Mr. Superintendent.
Mr. Fagelli, what happened to the grant I gave to you several times? Even the homeless youth, homelesses?
You gave me 3 grants. 2 of them we already have in existence with the county. And the
Okay.
third one would, the MESA program was one. There was one for counselors that
The mass program, yes.
that the county is working on, and we're working with the county.
What about the youth, the homeless?
What?
Homeless youth programs?
We checked into that, and it's too late for this year. I had Mrs. Armandati check that out, and we did look into it. The deadline was the 6th, and we had it. It was late, and we were not going to be able to get it done. We are applying it for next year.
Okay, I have another one here. It's 500,000 for the libraries.
That's where with the company that we're talking about can do all of that work for us. We don't have the staff to write many grants.
We have a project coordinator. I should be able to do it. We have someone in the charge, and then we cannot make the grant. Then what are you going to do it?
That's a topic we could put on the agenda, Mr. Kim, if
Okay.
you want to make that as part of your closing comments, to place it on the agenda for discussion. Okay? Let's move on to presentations. Dr. Fagali?
We have a new PhD on our staff, Dr. Mario Martinez, and we have a certificate for Mario. And Ms. Aguilar, if you present it, please.
Real quick. First of all, let me say thank you for this recognition. It's been a couple of years since I started this. This is my second attempt to get my doctorate. And as my family knows, it's been a journey, okay? And I could not do it without their support. One of the reasons that I got my doctorate was not, well, he's not here right now, was the promise I made my dad. In fact, there was the promise I, it's okay. It's all right. It's a promise I made my dad the day before he passed away. And it's been because of him that I've wanted to finish getting my doctorate. That's one reason. The other reason was because the students of Calexico need, one, a role model to help them understand that everything is possible. Okay? That's one. And that with the support of family, my lovely wife, Elisa, my daughter, my son who's at home relaxing, my sister who's here, my niece, and my nephew who's working. I couldn't have done that. Okay? But one of the persons that I kept pushing me and asked me to finish is right there, my mom. Yeah. And I did that for her too. The other reason is because I want to help the students at Calexico. And everybody who knows me knows that I've always, in the years that I've been teaching, I've taught my students not just chemistry and physics, but to be successful. And what better role model could I be that I finished my doctorate and was able to tell my students, if I can do it, you can too. And that's why I did it. And I want to thank all of you for recognizing me tonight. Thank you.
Yo quisiera pedir un aplauso para la mamá de Mario, que trabaja con nosotros y que es una gran mamá. Señora, Dios la bendiga. Thank you.
I just want to share that I had the pleasure of working with Mario at the high school. And he recruited me to help him advise, be co-advisor with Mecha. And a lot of the times you encouraged me to finish my education, so thank you. And we'll see you around campus because you'll be teaching there. Awesome. It's awesome.
Yes, Mr. Martinez comes from a very hardworking family, a very humble family. I had the pleasure of growing up with right around the corner from them. And it's a pleasure to always pass by Mrs. Martinez's house, Mrs. Mom Martinez, when I go visit my own mother. But, you know, Mario has gone through so much in the last few years, from the unfortunate passing of his father, and, you know, the highs and the lows that he went through. It's just tremendous, you know. And I can vouch for the fact that all along the way, he's always attributed to his family, to his parents, to his upbringing, knowing that his siblings, and I know Leo's not here right now, but you know his sister and his brother, and always giving so much credit to his wife Elisa. You know, he really did, Elisa. I mean, I sat through some classes with him, so you know, he's just a tremendous person, and the beauty of that he holds within his heart is the best, and he's a great friend.
Your mic's not on.
Thank you. The Xerox representative was unable to be here tonight. He will be at our next board meeting, and we will have documentation prior to that time for you to review.
Thank you. Next presentation.
Spectrum.
Hi, good evening. Fernando Zavala, representing the Public Spectrum. Along with me, Honorable, Along with me, we have Antonio Maldonado out there, which is the audio video projects manager. And we have Fernando Cardenas out here, who's our technical master. They both play a key element in, of us through the process of which a meeting it's recorded and goes to uploaded. I know I don't want to take much of your time, but I wanted to talk to you a little bit about our process, and the way these systems are being recorded and the systems that we currently use, which is Brightcove. Brightcove system is one of the 3 largest web servers nationwide. And that's the system that we've been utilizing since we first started the public spectrum. And one of the reasons why Mr. Zimmer, who is the president of the Spectrum Advertising,
Item
wanted
E,
to get
comments
involved.
from the public.
Excuse us for a second. It's because we wanted to help our community and grow our community in regards to open government. And we have partnered up with several cities here, with the city of Calexico. We have Mr. Moreno here, the Imperial Irrigation District, city of Brawley, and the city of El Centro. And just want to add that all the cities that we've been partnered up with have renewed the contracts because they see the benefit that this brings to each government official. Obviously, you know that yourselves, you're a public official. The people need to be informed of what's going on with the community. And the involvement of the citizens nowadays is incredible. I mean, everybody wants to be involved. And with this accommodation, I mean, you basically give access to them 24 hours, 7 days a week. So it's really a neat program to have. One of the things that we wanted to do is maintain the cost down. We realized that, times are hard. So one of the things that we wanted to do with this new, still using Brightcove, it's synchronize our meetings through Brightcove that has a system to sync through YouTube. This meeting is not uploaded to YouTube. It's through Brightcove, and Brightcove sends it to YouTube. Why? Because we've realized that people are getting involved nowadays a lot more. So what happens with bandwidth, we get charged per bandwidth, so basically per megabyte. So basically, the more people are viewing this product, the meetings, well, obviously the cost is higher. So what happens then? You eventually have to raise your prices. If people are getting involved, they're going through your meetings and they want to view they see what's going on. There comes a point when you have to raise prices. So we don't want to do that. So we try to figure out a way. Okay, how can we do this to keep the costs down at the same rate? Well, we decided to synchronize through Brightcove to YouTube, so the bandwidth we won't get that extra expense, and that way we can maintain the same price, which is the cost of $400. There was a revised contract, I might add, before I go further, that was emailed through the superintendent with the price change, so we can help accommodate, hopefully, your needs, especially in the exceeding hours. But with that said, some of the benefits that you'll see with Brightcove that you won't have with anybody else, it's in our own video cloud. Okay, you have the privacy aspect of it, which is if you're with Brightcove and you click on the video portion of it, on the side, you won't have any videos related to anything else. It's just the videos, meetings that has to do with the Calexico Unified School District. Okay, when you sync to YouTube, then you have other related videos, which is anything that's related with Calexico Mariachi Festival, anything's related. So that's what you see. But you still have your video. But again, it maintains your costs down. So that's just an option. If you want more technicalities of it, Antonio can give it to you. But basically, what are some of the reasons why you should consider partnering up with the public spectrum? Basically, is the agenda sync. The agenda sync, we've come to find out from staff, from citizens, that it saves them plenty of time. Even when it comes to minutes, we've had phone calls from different staff people throughout different cities that say, oh my God, I missed this item on the minutes, so I can always go back to your system. Yeah, all right, Fernando. So it saves a lot of time. The information is there, and it saves the cities money, really. Especially, we've gotten some good quotes from the city of Brawley that I will share with you. That they had a person in each meeting taking minutes. Now they don't have to. This saves them a lot of money, on staff time. So that's something to consider, because, you're not only going to be getting a good quality video with the agenda, keeping people informed, but at the long run, even though it's a year contract, 30-day notice, you don't want to go further, that's fine. We like to say we're neighbors, we're local, you guys know us, so, a 30-day difference, that's fine. All that we're trying to do is help our community, and this prices that we're maintaining, they are for our community, which it's you guys. We definitely are trying to grow eventually, go to San Diego, expand it nationwide, why not? But basically, we do want to partner up with you guys. We do realize, as you can see there, you have a link. Can you go back, Antonio, please, on your homepage, where people can have access actually through your homepage by clicking on the link right beside you. And that actually takes you to the meetings. See, in all these meetings, they'll be archived. Not only on video, but we also provide Mrs. Burgos with a copy of DVD of each meeting for your own archives, just for your reference. And anytime you guys want an extra copy, of course you can go ahead and refer to us. And that takes you to the public spectrum. And as you can see, you have 4-hour meetings. So you click on one item, go ahead and click on item number 10 or anything, Antonio. And it takes you straight to the item. So obviously, again, time consuming. It's not time consuming for you guys. It's easy, accessible, and in the long run, it does save you money. Instead of purchasing your equipment and coming to find out in 2 years, in 2 or 3 months you don't want to do it anymore, you're stuck with $10,000. So I highly encourage you, and feel free to please communicate with other council people, especially with the IID directors and just staff. I mean, how pleased they are with the product that we want to partner up with you throughout the year, and that we truly believe in it. It's not only us, and also citizens do believe in it. So, it really is a process. When it comes to, it's not just recording the meeting and uploading it to YouTube. There's a lot more components to that. Especially when it comes to encoding, and it's just a lot of time consuming. So that will be off your staff's plate, and that will be our duty to make sure that you have a good quality video at the end of the day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Hey, Fernando.
FRC presentation.
Mr. Fragani, what's your recommendation?
Well, I wanted to wait, not during my superintendent's report. I think our next step. That kind of surprised me. At this point, I agree that we should use Spectrum and at least continue as long as we can afford it. And I know that we are continuing to talk with them about pricing and so forth. But they do an outstanding job. I've known of Spectrum for a long time. So if we're going to do it with anyone, I certainly would want to use Spectrum as our company.
We have not approved a contract, correct?
No, we have not.
So that will be.
That would be.
Okay, so that's to be determined once you get
that would if we had
future pricing and so forth.
We'll get that pricing for you.
Okay.
And bring it back to you.
Thank you. We'll now go to comments from the public.
We have for FRC.
Oh, I'm sorry, FRC.
FRC.
FRC, I'm sorry. Thank you. I apologize.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Hortensia Armendariz, coordinator of the Family Resource Center and Student Services. Each of you have a handout. If you wish, I could also email you the PowerPoint. So it's a little bit larger, so if you want to see it on the screen. I'm going to walk you through what the Family Resource Center is, some of the agencies that we have, and some of the services that we provide. The Family Resource Center is at 604 West Birch Street. It's behind Mains Elementary School. To the district, it's the Family Resource Center, but to the community, it's La Trailita. Everybody knows us as La Trailita because it's a little trailer that's out there with a lot of services. What are our goals and our purpose? to identify areas of needs and coordinate services for students and their families. Another thing that we also want to do is to assist the individuals with resources to produce productive outcomes, not only in school, but also at home and in the community. And how do we do this? Through an intensive collaboration and effective partnership with agencies and other service providers. And you'll understand this a little bit more when you see all the agencies that we have at the Family Resource Center. And who qualifies? Anyone that lives in Calexico, any student, any family. And to tell you the truth, if anybody else comes knocking on the door, you know, from Heber or anybody else, we don't say, you're not from Calexico, we're not going to help you. There's no fees involved. There's 2 asterisks on the bottom, and I'll tell you a little bit more right now. It's for behavioral health services. There are fees involved, but I'll get to that right now. Okay, for part of Calexico Unified School District, what is it that we're going to offer? And I'm going to say what are we going to offer versus what did we offer last year, because last year we didn't offer the anger management classes due to our budget crisis, but we should be able to do that this year. So we will offer anger management classes throughout the school year, and we offer those on the west side of town, east side of town. We are also going to continue offering our parenting classes on a monthly basis, and that doesn't mean once a month, because some months we could have 2 or 3 classes going on, but we will continue that this school year. Something new that I'm going to be involved this school year is plazas comunitarias, and that is going to be elementary and secondary education for adults. What's going to happen is that our parents are going to be able to go through one of our classes and receive a diploma from Mexico via the Consulado Mexicano. So we will be offering that for our parents. Our parents will be able to receive, like I said, a primaria certificate and a secundaria certificate. That is something really, really exciting that we're going to continue to get this off the ground. Another thing that we also have at the Family Resource Center is we help out families with Healthy Families and California Kids. That's health insurance. So we help our families make sure that there's no reason why no student should have insurance unless parents are really well off and they decide not to have insurance, because we have Medi-Cal that they can apply there. They have Healthy Families, the income is a little bit higher, and for California Kids, that's an insurance for all students that don't have a Social Security number, and we know which students those are. And that's a foundation, that's not government money, so we help our parents go there and we help them through that process. We also assist our foster students and our foster families, making sure that the transition from wherever they were at is really smooth, making sure they get into school, get the appropriate classes, and our foster families, we're always making sure to providing them with guidance and trainings, anything that they need. Another thing that we also do at the Family Resource Center is we assist the homeless students and homeless families. And Mr. Kim, right now you had asked about the grant. And the grant proposal, I did receive it last week. And you know what? And I was willing to work on it, even if it was due on Monday the 6th. But I would have had to register 2 weeks prior to that. And that's why we weren't able to get that off the ground this time. So what is it that we do for our homeless students and homeless families? And yes, we have them in Calexico. And I don't know if a lot of people don't know that we have homeless families, but homeless families, according to the McKinley-Vento Act, is anyone who is doubled up, tripled up due to an economic hardship. And we have a lot of those families in Calexico, that we have a lot of families living all under one roof because of economic hardship, and those are families that qualify for homeless benefits. And we also have students that are really on their own. Every single year it seems that I get a senior that I help out. And we help out with transportation, we help out with uniforms, school supplies. And this year, it was really, really emotional to help one student where we even got her a $4,500 grant to go to UCSD. And I'm going to ask Norma, don't even look at me because I've talked to her about that one. So we do a lot of stuff for our homeless students. Another thing that we also do, and not enough, I think, is for our pregnant teens and our teen parents. But we do help out making sure that our pregnant teens are receiving, the medical care, making sure that they have the insurance, starting them with the parenting trainings, and most of all, making sure that they continue their education. We do a lot of community outreach events. Anywhere that there's an agency that's having an event, I always make sure, invite the FRC so we can tell them what services we have. And we do a lot of referrals to a lot of agencies throughout the valley and if needed out of the valley. There at the FRC, we also have lots of clothes. People already know us. They donate clothes, and they don't donate the furniture there because I don't have room for it, but they already know. They call me, do you have a family that needs a mattress, couch, or anything? And right away, we link families to that. Okay, here's one of the agencies that we have is Behavioral Health Services. I don't know if you know that we have a full clinic at the FRC. We have child psychiatrists, we have therapists, we have a nurse, case managers, and they're available to provide treatment, assessment, and crisis intervention to children and youth at the community, for the community. These are all the staff members that are there in that little trailer. You might not think that we have all those people there. So as you see, we have a supervisor, 2 psychiatrists, a nurse, clinicians, 2, which are the therapists. We have 4 case managers, and those are really, really nice to have because they're the ones that go out and do the home visits and also meet students at school and meet with teachers if necessary or administrators. There's an office technician, an office assistant, and a medical records person there also. So that's all on one side of the trailer. Part of Behavioral Health Services, what we also have, it's not there at the FRC, is Vista Sands. And you've heard about Vista Sands. We talked about Vista Sands last meeting, and that's hosted at Kennedy Gardens Elementary School, and that's for all our students here at Calexico Unified. We also have alcohol and drug prevention or intervention programs. Right now we have them at Calexico High School, Aurora High School, Enrique Camarena Junior High School, and pending is the approval of Willie Moreno Junior High School. Also there, we have one more agency, which we have 2 different people there. We have Joel Dueñas, who's an eligibility worker, and he helps our families with the cash aid, food stamps, Medi-Cal. So our families do not have to go to El Centro. He also helps with minor consent, and minor consent is really helping our teen moms or our pregnant moms, our teen pregnant moms, make sure that they get their Medi-Cal services to be able to get medical care. We also have and Joel Dueñas is there Mondays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays, usually from 7:30 to 5:30. We also have our social worker, Maria Rubio. She comes out from the CPS office that we all know, but her hat, she doesn't wear the hat of the CPS worker that we all know that is usually there to remove students or remove our children. She's there more of prevention and intervention. We have referrals from our schools that they're asking for help. She goes and does the home visits, assesses what's going on, and continues to help them to make sure that children are not being removed. Okay, other services, and that's just a small list because the more I think about it, the more services that we have. What I do is anybody that is willing to come and help our students or our families, I open the FRC and say you can have you can offer the classes at the FRC. Other parenting classes that we have some provided by ICOE. We've offered the nurturing parenting classes. We've offered those at Blanche Charles, Maines. We've offered them at Calexico High School. We've offered them at Aurora. This year, we're also going to have the CAP Council, which is Imperial County Child Abuse Prevention Center. They will be offering classes on Monday evenings. They're at the FRC to start off because I'm hoping to get them in the schools and offer them at the schools. We're also going to have from IVROP, they're going to be offering classes for our dads, Project Padres. So again, we'll start them off at the FRC, but I'm hoping then to transition into our schools. We also have nutrition classes that are provided by Imperial County Health Department. Other things that we do, just for you to know, Calexico Police Department in December, they do the Kids and Badges where they take our students shopping, and they usually take them at Walmart for about $100. That is really, really nice. So I'm involved with that. Through the FRC, we have food baskets, and they're always donations from our community. We have the food baskets in Thanksgiving and Christmas. In December, our students are really, really lucky because we have a lot of gifts from them. Calexico High School seniors, through their Christmas or their senior Christmas, they provide all the gifts to the FRC, and then we disseminate. We also get gifts from Calexico High School ASB. Neighborhood House, the City of Calexico, and from community members. We always have community members calling up and saying they want to help if I have names of students. I don't give out the names of students. We just provide the gifts. Nancy Castillo, on a yearly basis, is giving backpacks to us, so we always give backpacks to our students. The other one that's right there, the REAP, the 30% discount, I don't want to take it off. We don't no longer do it there, help at the FRC with that, but I leave it there because I always want to make sure that our families know to apply for the 30% discount. If you look at your IIID, put an extra I, your IID bill, we all pay into this program. So I'm always asking our families, are you enrolled? Because if they are enrolled, then there's funds where their utility bill can be paid for twice a year, and you know when it is in Calexico, in the summer, right? Another thing that we also do is through the VITA program is free income tax preparation. There are volunteers that have been certified by IRS, and they go in on Fridays and Saturdays. I open up the FRC on Fridays and Saturdays, and it's free income tax services for our families. Another thing that we started last year is Site for Students. Through the VSP, they gave us about 100 or more vouchers where students can go into the FRC, get a voucher, and go get their glasses and their checkups. But the thing is that these are only for students that do not have insurance. So that was it. If you have any questions for the FRC, and there's a lot of other things that we do. I started to write some. For example, we started the prom dress drive. So we had a lot of girls with free dresses to assist or to attend the prom. We have also from Amigos de Alejandro, it's a support group for families that have children with cancer. I have a lot of communication with Children's Hospital with some of our students that are there. We help out coordinate transportation, not through the district, but outside agencies. I help families get appointments for immigration purposes. We coordinate a lot with the recreation activity, especially right now in the summer where there's a lot of free recreation activities and movies for our students. So that's a little bit about what we do at the FRC. So any questions?
Yes.
Yeah.
Good, lots of questions.
Mrs. Romo?
Thank you. I need more information for what is the data for the student attendance in the 3 years?
You're asking what is the data for the...
Is the program for Family Resource Center, no?
You know what? If you heard what I said, what my title was, it's the FRC Coordinator and Student Services. I provided you the FRC information. My other hat is Coordinator of Student Services, where I help out with, I facilitate the SARB hearings, the expulsion hearings, and monitor the attendance. That's a whole new presentation. But you know what? Just a night ago, 2 nights ago, I emailed Mr. Fergali and Mrs. Ambris with all our data, and I broke it down by codes: excused, unexcused, makeups, immunization. I could do another presentation on attendance. I would love to do another presentation on attendance.
This information is for email, Dr. Fergali?
We'll get that to you.
I need the information, please.
We'll have that to you.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Valenzuela? Mr. Kim?
Yes. I believe last year I was requesting you about the city ordinance about the students' curfew time, and even the school time, they cannot be outside the school street.
There is a city ordinance on truancy. And you know what?
Okay.
Like I said, I would love to do a presentation on attendance. Just a few days ago, and I don't even know what my days are, a few days ago, I emailed to all the administrators a PowerPoint that I use in our parent trainings that I could come and share with the board members, and then also give you some data on our attendance. You know what? If our students are not in school every day and on time, how are we going to expect them to succeed academically?
Yeah, so I believe that we need to have all the necessary documents. Our school district needs to be, I believe, from the board to present to the city of Calexico to enforcing the students' curfew and even the school hours too. That way we can keep the students out of the street.
I agree with you. That's probably something, an item that could be placed on when we have soon-to-be joint meeting. Mr. Moreno, if you could take it to your colleagues and.
With regard to the truancy, you brought that up a couple of months ago.
Can you come to the podium, please? Thank you.
Ms. Aguilar, there's going to be a joint meeting.
We've had it, I think, twice in
That
the
would
past.
be perfect time to present that.
Do the presentation. I agree.
Just for your, John Moreno, just for information, we did have that brought up at the last, about a month ago, with regard to truancy when they had the walkout. Apparently, the city is not going to enforce that municipal code because the district attorney will not take the cases. So unless Chief Nujar and I guess the school board or us, the city council, get together and talk about ways that they can do that, unless the district attorney starts taking the cases, it's just futile. It's a futile attempt to stop, to charge them with truancy. Okay, but I think it would be a good idea to bring it up when we get together.
Yep. It's
Thank
a
you.
good discussion.
I will say that our SRO do as much as they can with that.
Well, maybe we need to find a way to do it differently and take
Okay.
advantage of that.
The other question is, do you work with the California Children's Service?
California Children's Services. That, if I have it right, that's another insurance that will help our families.
Yes.
Yes, yes,
I
yes, yes,
believe
yes.
What I got this information through the friends. Any family annual income should
Yes.
not exceed the 40% of the medical bills, the 40% of the annual income. If they exceed the 40%, they step in to pay the medical bill. I think on her case, she's just paying $1,000 for all the medical bill.
We work really, really well with our eligibility worker who helps our families with the Medi-Cal. And when he sees that they do not qualify for Medi-Cal, either their income is too high, he will refer our families to us so we can help with the Healthy Families or California Kids. And we also then provide information to our families with the CCS. That's why I slowed down when you said the whole name. I'm used to CCS.
Yes, yes, yes.
Mhm.
So those kind of information, I think, is good to publish to the community, so they know what they can have a benefit. I believe that a lot of people, they don't know about that, and sometimes they're making more than some certain amount of the money. They believe they don't get any service, but in the child case, they have another way to get this covered by the medical bill from this kind of program. So I like
That's a
the
good point.
FRC to bring all those kind of benefit, or especially to taking care of the children, to make the little flyer send them home to make sure to everybody knows they can get some help.
You know what? We've done that in the past, and that's what we can do this school year. I was going to share with you a brochure that I have, but after I started to work on the PowerPoint, I said, no, you know what? I'm going to convert the brochure with what I have on the PowerPoint, and what we can do is make sure to get that brochure, it's in Spanish and English, out to all our families. And a lot of our families already know that we exist. And once you help one family, then they spread the word, and we have so many families going to the FRC for services.
Yeah, I think so. Especially Calexico, lots of family is in the issue right now, and they don't have medical, and they don't have insurance neither because their income level is different, or they lost job.
And what I try to also do is go out to the schools and provide this information to the staff, and that way they can provide the information to, I provide the information to the staff, which are our teachers, and they can provide the information to our families.
Okay, thank you.
Thank
First
you.
things, one thing I know, I heard a lot of you doing good for the children.
Thank you. I love my job. Thank you.
Thanks, Ms. Thank you,
I do
Hortensia.
have a question in regards to the parent training. So is the parent training going to be similar to how it was when it was in place, where it's going from at the sixth grade level, at the eighth grade level?
I am so glad that you're asking. Right now, board policy says it's a mandated 4 hours of parent training for our parents in kinder, 6, and 9. What I'm hoping to bring back to the board is that we have the parent trainings kinder, 6, and 8, because those are our transition years. So just to keep it there on your mind, that I'm hopefully going to bring that back, and hopefully you'll approve that instead of 9th grade, it's 8th grade, because the parent training for 8th grade the parent training for 9th grade is a transition to the high school, but 9th grade, they're already high school students. So hopefully we'll have it in 8th grade. And we have excellent attendance.
Okay.
Excuse
believe-
me,
yeah.
I still had some questions. In regards to the new project that you said you were talking about, the
Plazas comunitarias?
yes,
Mhm.
it's elementary and high school certification.
Right now,
Are
it's elementary and junior high, secondary.
elementary and junior high.
Uh-huh.
Okay, and so are those going to be housed in the schools, or are we looking towards placing it in the community?
A little bit of everything. Or I'm hoping to be able to house in one of our offices. I mean, one computer, two computers, because all of this it's two. It's web-based, and it's also going to be direct instruction. So if it's web-based, I'm hoping to be able to have a few computers in one of our offices we have the laptops that we use for the income tax purposes, and I'm hoping throughout the year we can have those available for our parents who feel comfortable using it through web-based. So I'm hoping that we have services at the FRC, services at the sites, and services out in the community.
My final question is in regards to the program where it's preventive child abuse,
Mhm.
and I know that you're doing presentations. So are those presentations also provided to or done for staff and I want to say staff and faculty, but yeah, that's what it is, staff and faculty.
You know what, for child abuse, we have gone out when the sites request, we have gone out, and I've gone out with our social worker to present to our staff regarding child protective services, the reporting and what is the protocol, what is the process. We've done that. I've been involved at Willie Moreno. We did a presentation. Oh, and a presentation here for the administrators. Those were the two that I was involved.
So is that done on a yearly basis, or in other words, do we have record that everybody's been trained, or is there?
I don't know if we have record, but it should happen on a yearly basis.
Okay, can we check that and see if it hasn't, to maybe implement that?
I know that this last school year, we made sure that all the administrators went through the training, and I offered the services at both of the sites. That doesn't mean that the rest of the sites didn't have it. I don't know.
Exactly. All right. Thank you, Mr. Kim.
Mhm.
You had a question?
Yes, I think your question of what I was going to ask it, you asked already about the elementary and secondary level. But I still like to request Miss Hortensia, Miss Almendares.
Almendares,
if they possible to do the high school diploma from that program from the Consuladores Mexicanos, and I believe a lot of parents, for them to maintain the kid in the school, they raise the kid, and they have to learn the English. That's the another side that they have to get the diploma from the high school. If they have another option without English, they can get the high school diploma through the Consuladores. They keep some certain level of the education, maybe not in English, but they can keep to some level of education.
You know what? For right now, it's to start them with making sure that our parents have their elementary and their junior high certificates. Right now, the Consulado is already working on helping out with the high school diplomas, and I really got involved with this because I really wanted to offer more services for our students, especially our students that cannot pass the Casey. And it's usually the English language arts. I thought, okay, if we have the Plaza Comunitarias, maybe they can get their high school diploma through that. What they do have in order already is, they have it in order in some different plazas, is also higher education at these top universities. So right now we're going to start with our elementary, secondary. Hopefully we'll start, then we'll continue with the high school, and also having our parents register online on these top universities in Mexico. And I'm working really close with the Consulado. They spent practically a whole day in my office with some of our staff there, letting us know about all the services that they have there, which is so many services that I was not even aware of.
And I was shocked that when during called the nomination process, tried to get their sign. Some seniors, they cannot write down their name. Even they don't know how to write down their name as a sign. They just put the two palitos. It was a shock.
You know what? And if we can help them through the plazas comunitarias, I mean, if that's an extra service that we can provide for them, why not?
Yeah. So what they're saying is that they've never been in school for the support the families.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Armendariz.
I just want to thank you for all you do for our community. I wasn't aware that your plate was so big.
It's humongous, but I love doing what I do.
Thank you very much.
Basically, how many employees for Family Resource Center?
Wow. If we go back to the chart, let's start with behavioral health because those are the most.
No, for Calexico
Unified.
Unified School District.
Oh, how many
It's
staff?
Maria and you?
Oh, for the school district, who works at the Family Resource Center that is paid through the school district is myself and Maria Bravo.
Oh my gosh.
And we do a little bit of everything. Sometimes it seems like we work for behavioral health, that we work for Department of Social Services, that we work for INS, that we work for, but we love it. We both love doing what we do.
Okay. Thank you
Awesome.
very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Does the board need to take a break, or you want to move forward? You good?
I'm good.
Okay. Let's move forward. Comments from the public. I have Marcia Bauk.
Is the red button on?
No, it wasn't. Hey, I feel real proud of myself. I can do email, and I can do Facebook, and I can do the web and do all my IEPs, but not everything. I submitted two things that I want to speak about, and I'll go with the easy one first. There is on H7 an action item coming up for a Unity conference in October. I want to say, first of all, that I am in favor of sending the 3 board members to this Unity conference. Everybody needs more training. And the good thing about this is that food is included in this conference. My question comes for the dates. The conference is on the 5th and the 6th of October. And according to the action item on the agenda, they've put in for the 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th. Now, as a teacher, when I had to go to conferences, or when I was able to go to conferences, we always drove up in the morning. This conference is in San Diego. So we get up and leave and make sure that we got there at the beginning, so we didn't have to go the night before and spend hotel time. When the conference was over, we also left then, and we wouldn't need hotel. So that is the only thing I'm questioning, is the time, I am assuming, going up and, coming back. I also want to hope that you carpool, so that we're not paying mileage for 3 different cars to go to San Diego and back. And the other thing I'd like to mention is that when teachers go to conferences, we share rooms. And it's lots of fun. And a few years ago, when you sent a heck of a lot of people to Phoenix for the, the PLC thing, you even put 3 people in a room. So that is something to consider. I know the board members probably don't want to share a room with each other, but when I see a penny, I do pick it up. I always pick it up because more than they add up. So anytime that we can save a little bit here and there, I think it's worth saving. So I am in favor. Just think about some of the costs and saving the costs. Okay, thank you.
Ms. Bauk, your second one?
No, I want to have a break.
You did submit it with timely.
This one is going to be a hairy one, okay?
That's all right. Harry's
Okey-doke.
what we
Oh,
do.
yes, and my name is Marcia Bauk, and I do teach at Main School, and this will be my last year. Okay. Got to go down fighting. There's a nasty rumor going around that you're going to add students to our classes in the QEIA schools, namely Rockwood and Mains. Last meeting, Diana mentioned something about that, and Ruth commented. Diana was speaking about how much money that we got through QEIA, and Ruth made the comment, well, it doesn't cover everything. So I'd like to, if this is indeed not a rumor, but a real thing, I'd like to thank everybody. The business office must be really doing a bang-up job, because the district is paid $500 per pupil in K through 3, $900 per pupil in 4-6. Last year, Rockwood got at approximately $343,737. Maine's got $227,853 for a total of $571,590. That's a lot of money. I was under the impression that in order for you to increase class size in the QEIA schools, that a waiver had to be presented and gone before some state of California school board. Thank you. I've never seen it appear on the budget, on this board agenda. And if you do increase the class sizes, then I guess we have to tell the State of Education School Board that you're not playing fair. I don't know. I want you to think about what impact this will have on the kids. We've improved every year. We're two of the schools that have made improvements. I found out that we don't... Okay, never mind. Thank you. I want to ask you, what about the kids? Last week, Norma pointed out to the mission statement when she spoke about hiring teachers back and said, what about the kids? It's on the mission statement. I really thought that all of you had run on the agenda of honesty. This isn't being honest. And it seems like if this does go through and we do fill up the rooms on the QEIA schools, it's the same old story, only in Calexico.
Thank you. Leti Vizcarra.
Hi, good evening. My name is Leti Vizcarra, and I am a parent of 3 children here at Calexico Unified School District. And I'm here tonight to speak to you, the board, about a couple of concerns of mine. One is the class size, and you just heard a teacher's concern about that, and I share the same concern. Very quickly, I'll share with you, like I said, I have 3 children. One in particular has always needed extra help and has been provided that very graciously by her teachers, and she's thrived. She'll be in 6th grade this year, and really, I think we've all seen, and I can cite some research for you and statistics, but I won't bore you. I'll tell you a little more personal, that I believe that getting that attention has helped her to be as successful as she can be so far. And of course, we help her a lot at home as parents. But I'm here, and I ask you as a board to consider the success of our children. We talked, Ms. Ambriz talked about transitional kinder and how that's being seen all across the board as something fundamental, something really important for kids before they get to kinder to be successful. And if we hone that, if we hinder that by down the line filling their classrooms, we really lose what we started before kinder. We're putting so much effort in getting our kids going when they're 4, so that when they're 5, they're reading, and by the time they're maybe in 3rd grade, their reading level has increased so much that they're really
learning different concepts. I think I read very recently that they're talking about teaching algebra or some concepts of algebra at kinder, and I think that's great. That's excellent. But I really believe that we're going to hinder that if we do increase our class sizes considerably. But I'm here also to talk to you about a quote that I read in our newspaper recently. Mr. Fergali was quoted as saying that we're going to start the year off with substitute teachers. And that concerns me. It concerns me a great deal. I'm concerned for my children. I'm concerned for all of our children. One of my children, for example, is going to be a senior this year, and she's slated to take several AP classes, and my concern would be that she not have a substitute teacher for those subjects, that no children really should have a substitute teacher. It'd be really important for me to know how long we should expect to have these substitute teachers in place of a long-term permanent teacher. With consistency comes success. If children have a consistent permanent teacher in their classrooms, they're going to be more successful. If we start the year off with substitutes, I can tell you as a parent we won't get that. Thank you, board, tonight for your time.
Thank you. Ms. Vizcarra. Madam President has arrived. I'll turn over.
Good afternoon, everybody. Next speaker, Raúl Ureña.
Thank you. My name is Raúl Ureña. I came here today to address a problem here in Calexico, and it's the unquestionable amount of inequality within our district. You can just compare Blanche Charles, Cesar Chavez, or this very district office to other schools, and you'll see that here at the district office we have air conditioning that works, we have hallways, we have lighting. The ceiling hasn't fallen when it rains. That's what happens in my classroom. The floors are vacuumed. That's pretty weird too. It hardly happens. Now, usually parents want their child to go to good schools, and they'll request to be transferred to a better school, such as Cesar Chavez or Blanche Charles. But I find this insulting. The parents have to beg the school district to get into a school with an adequate learning environment. And I say adequate for the reason being that even the best schools in Calexico are still no match for other schools in the valley. And if you're still trying to find the answer to why that is, you need to look no further than yourselves and your mismanagement. This school district has a lot of money and some of the brightest minds, yet the students in this district lack support. We as a community can do something this November, this election cycle. We can vote these people out and get someone that will actively represent us, not the lawyer, not the superintendent, but us. And of course, to everything there's an exception, and here that exception would be Mr. Kim. He's a model board member, and I think it's time that other board members should learn from him. Thank you.
Next speaker, Diana Harvey.
Hello, my name is Diana Harvey. I'm one of the officers with ACT, and I have a slate of things to talk about, but they've been mentioned. But the one thing that's pressing now is the pre-K class. The pre-K class was an informational item on April 19th, and the first time that I really realized it was going to come to fruition was when we heard that a teacher had been offered the job. Our contract doesn't allow the teacher to teach 2 half-day sessions. I taught kindergarten for 15 years in this district. We don't do it that way. each teacher gets one session and then helps the second teacher in the other session. And that's the way it works. That's the way the contract is. The class size is still for kinder, unless we want to sit down and negotiate it. The class size for kinder is 30 to 1. Now, 30 to 1 is not 30 times 2 to 1. It's 30 to 1. So the lady that was offered the class, and by the way, I have other teachers that have asked that as soon as I heard that the job was going to be posted, that they could apply. And you've already filled the position, which, again, is another violation of the contract, because this was a new position. It isn't something that we've always done before. So not only do we have a violation, and, you know, we can't come and say to you, you're violating the contract until it happens. So when this happened on April 19th and you said informational item, and the board never approved it, we thought it was still an idea of just floating out there. We didn't know it had come to fruition. And now it's coming to fruition and you're implementing it. And now with all the wrong steps are you taking going down the wrong path. Again, the contract is going to be violated. We're going to file a grievance. The people who wanted to apply for the positions have not been given the opportunity. And the class size, we don't do kindergarten where it's one person handles 60 kids or 50 kids. The class size is 30. Now look at me like that, Mr. Fregali, like I'm talking to you. As I am telling you what I do know because I know it, and that's what way it says. Now I have 45 seconds. The QEIA dilemma about the funding and increasing the class size. We in ACT had an idea that must be what's happening because you didn't have enough teachers coming back. So where were you going to find people to teach these classes? He was either going to be raise the class size to a certain higher number, I won't say how many, or you increase the class size of the QEIA schools, and for that purpose you don't need as many teachers, unfortunately. So we're still in a dilemma here, and we have how many days till school starts? Now I think we're down to 5. And please don't start classes with substitutes. It's not fair to the kids. It's not fair to the students. Thank you.
Mrs. Harvey, I have a question for you. Are you referring to pre-kinder or are you referring to transitional kinder?
Well, there's preschool and there's a pre-kinder, which is called pre-K.
It's called transitional
and
kinder.
also called transitional.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Transitional kinder, by what I read today, it is not considered a new class or a new grade. It is considered a 2-year kinder. Therefore, it is not new to the school district. And
well,
I apologize, I don't have that in me with me. It's in my car, but at a break, I will get it to you.
I'll be glad to share you with the article that I read. This is the first time in 100 years that our state has added a new grade.
It's not a new. They don't consider it as a new grade.
All right. Well, we still have a class size limit. Okay.
Okay, we have no more speakers for comments from the public. Moving on to item G, board members' closing comments. 3 minutes, please. I will start with Ms. Aguilar. Mr. De La Rosa, it says closed session. Do you want to speak in closed session or do you want to speak now? Okay, so you want to speak? You can speak now. Oh, I thought you. Ms.
Madam
Urrutia,
President,
you have H4.
Even though the item is not listed, anytime you take up a new item, you can take public comments at that item. So when you begin the closed session, you could take the comments then if you like.
And that's when I was going to have her speak on the item on H4. But do you wish to speak now? Yeah?
Good afternoon, Monica Urrutia.
Good afternoon.
Let me give you a package, please.
Estaba viendo esto con esto.
And I couldn't take copies of the envelopes that I brought it. I received your letter dated August 8, 2012, on a personal matter today at 5:48 p.m. Attached, you will find proof of all your request items missing from my personal file. Sorry, but this has been distressful for me. Also, I urge the board to recommend all your departments to be equal to all classified employees on each one of your process, and please give enough time to implement it and not request it on vacations periods. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. De La Rosa, would you like to speak now?
Okay, thank you, Ms. Duarte. Just to try to reiterate a little bit what Ms. Urrutia is trying to convey to you, was what she presented to you was information that's been requested of her for the last month, and it's information that prompted the letter from the superintendent's office that Ms. Urrutia received, that you're going to be receiving today. Her request is that you put it together, or you look it over in closed session when you go in today, and consider all the documents that are there. The point that Ms. Urrutia was trying to make at the end was for the district to show fairness throughout all the classifications in regards to, or all the employees, in regards to when information is requested upon them, that to make sure that it's not being done during vacation time or their off time. It was proven difficult to attain certain documents that were required of her, and included is the proof of the time of the year that proved difficult. Okay, so it's for your review. We understand it's a process, and Ms. Urrutia, I'd just like you to consider the paperwork she gave you. Thank you.
Thank you. Chris. Okay, now. Moving on to item number G, board members' comments. Ms. Aguilar?
I had a complaint by a parent in regards to that the process of registering students is not uniform across the district. So I'd like to ask that if we could take a look at what type of application or forms are being provided for the parents at the different school sites and different levels. And if it is not uniform, if we can please consolidate, pull that and make one so that people, are not getting certain requests at a certain level and other requests at another level. That's what I have.
Do you have examples?
Well, the person was going to provide me with data, but I had to come here.
Okay.
So what I'll do is whatever I have, I'll share with the rest of the board and forward it to the superintendent.
So the packets that went out to the students are not the same?
For example, the specific example that was given to me, that the one that's been handing out at Camarena is not the same as the one that's being offered or provided at Cesar Chavez, if I'm not mistaken. So my question is, what are we providing? And if we're providing the same thing at the elementary level, then that's what we should do at the middle school and obviously at the high school.
Okay. Mr. Kim?
Different for different levels.
Oh, I'm sorry. Are you done? You still have minutes.
The only other thing that I wanted to share is that, well, in regards to, we had a presentation or an item that was touched upon by our superintendent in terms of providing or getting an outside agency as a grant writer. I believe that that we have effective grant writers from within our district, namely from our teachers, and even some of our classified employees have experience. I think that rather than looking out at an outside agency, we need to put a call out to people to see if they'll be interested in grant writing. And obviously anybody who's done grant writing knows that either a stipend or a subsidy of their job description can be built into that. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Kim?
Yeah, I think I'm going to be echoed by Ms. Aguilar. And we have a lot of staff. And even last time board didn't approve the consultant. I don't understand why the administration keep trying to bring the consultant outside. If we do with our staff has more chance to learn and also more effective for our school districts. And I believe a lot of people they've been writing the grant, and in order to write the grant, they supposed to know all the basic of the structure, that understanding more for the using the data, so that they they can make the more effective grant. And that should be done by our staff, not to outside of the consultant or outside the people. And the other one is, I had a similar complaint from the parents. They were here at 4 o'clock at school district building to try to pick up the registration package, and the school district was closed, I believe Tuesday. So she couldn't get any. And she called the district, and there's no package for the registration. So I told her to come today to speak out, and I believe she didn't come. A lot of people, parents, they are discouraging to talk here, because even they talk, the board doesn't do anything, or they just like they throw one small rock to the seas, and does nothing. So we don't do anything. There are lots of people discouraged, or they just try to eliminating to how to talk. It's a lot of parents. They're not used to talk in 30-minute here. When they stand up here, they're gonna be like shaky. Even what they write down, even they couldn't write, but they couldn't read. And both has to be considered, especially when they coming the parents. When they come to speak, we have to be a little more generous to they're not skilled person to talk here. And also what they're saying is, when they come here to talk, they mean to something they need to talk to here. And please both consider on the facts, and also again the registration process, giving the hardship for the parents. It shouldn't be that. It should be very friendly to give the parents too easy to get that process gone. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kim. Mr. Valenzuela?
Yes. Speaking of registration, I want to second what Mr. Kim said, and also I hope that this year registration process goes a little smoother than last year at the high school was a terrible mess. Seriously, I spent several hours just waiting and waiting and waiting, and I was very disappointed to see the process last year with registration at the high school in particular. I think we have staff there that should make it smoother for all the parents and all the students to be able to go through with registration, and especially parents. Some of us take the time to come and register our kids because we do have to provide certain documents, and we need to be there. Therefore, I think we should be able to make it smoother for everyone when it comes to registration at the high school. And I also I hear our teachers addressing our board tonight, and I understand what you're saying. I understand class size; it's a big issue, and we're also doing our best to bring staff back. As you can see, we have some of the items on the agenda tonight, and I'm going to speak for myself, not for anybody else, but I am aware that we are in need of staff, and we are trying our best to bring teachers back. With that being said, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Valenzuela. Mrs. Romo? Thank you, Madam President. I want to welcome all the administrative personnel for this year. And personally, I want all the principals focus on the educational program and the master schedule too. And other comment is I request for Mr. Moreno. Please, the public needed information for all classes for adult school. Lolita said I several calls for this program. Okay, is possible tomorrow, Mr. Moreno? Yes. Yes. Okay. And congratulations, good news for Dr. Fragale and the newspaper. Welcome again, the teacher for adult program. And third comment is I would like for the superintendent and Dr. Spencer and look for grants to stimulate all students in school and attendance perfect program. And I don't know, maybe in Chamber of Commerce, Walmart. You have very, very experience in public relations, and it's only one idea for you. Okay, thank you very much, Madam President. That's it.
Okay, thank you. As you know, we have that state hearing on Friday. I will not be able to go. I have another meeting that came up with my work on Friday too in San Diego, and unfortunately, I really wanted to be there, but I will not be going. And I forgot what it was. Oh, that's right. Norma Aguilar, can you sit in for me? Because I'm registered to speak, and you can sit in for me at the state hearing.
I will.
Okay, thank you. And I had one more item that I was going to share. I forgot. I'm sorry, I'm late. I had another meeting
grant
tonight.
writing, were you going to speak to that?
Was it spoke about?
I brought it up
wasn't-
earlier
Uh-huh.
because I knew you and I indicated that you probably would want to speak to that item. I did mention it.
Yeah, and one of the reasons why we had thought about the grant writing is because we hear that all of our staff is overwhelmed with work, and we've been talking about grants since on the 2 years that I've been sitting on this board, and we come up with good grants. Mr. Kim brings grants that are opening and everything, but we just can't seem to find the time to do them. There's grants out there every single day. We're missing them. I would like to ask, when was the last grant we got? When did we make the last grant? I think it was for the buses.
That's right. And we have one. We have a grant now. Have we heard, Dr. Spencer, from IID?
Oh, the one from IID too.
The 35,000.
$289,000, and that is included for air conditioning and electrical and lighting. Okay, good. But we need more grants out there, and these grants were written up really fast. And the reason why the company interested me was that's what they specialize on, and they write grants on a daily basis. So, there would be grants coming in for the swimming pool, for the football field, for the lighting, for the bleachers at the high school, for the bleachers at the football field. I mean, the whole entire district is deteriorating, and yet we don't have we have staff that are good grant writers, but when will they find the time to do it? So just to assist for this year until we get back on our feet, because we do have to focus on the academics this year. That's what I was going to say. Sunday, we're having the retreat. We're having the retreat on Sunday.
That's your choice.
And the focus is going to be academics.
Correct.
And it's going to be goals and objectives and the standards as to how we're going to get through this year and get those API scores up.
Good.
Because although we're okay with the budget from the state takeover, now we're have the AYP hovering over us too. So we need to get that fixed. My 3 minutes are up.
Regarding about the board retreat, I sent the mail to Ms. Bulgo. I cannot be.
Yeah.
I know I already warned you guys all the August. I'm not going to be able time for all the weekends.
And Mr. Kim, we've been trying to set a retreat since we got on board, and for one reason or other, one board member can't make it, but this can't wait. We don't have any goals. If somebody was to ask me, what are the goals for this coming year, I will say, I don't know, because we don't have any. And that is very unfair, because we can't work day by day. We have to have a goal to reach, and we don't have a goal to reach, so everybody's just working on a day-by-day basis and hanging on. But we need to set a goal and try and make it, and hopefully we can make it working together. Okay, because right now we're working blind, and every day is something different, but we're not meeting the goals and the standards that we need to meet as an education, in the educational field.
Madam President, this is on Sunday, no? Excuse me, 9 to 3?
9 to 3 on Sunday, yes.
10 to
4? 10 to 4? 10 to 4.
10 to 4, okay.
I'm sorry. Ms. Aguilar, you have something?
I just wanted to also, and thank you for allowing me just this one other statement, is that asking for the administration to please take a look at how we're doing the residency verification, if we can streamline that. To my understanding right now, what happens is, say, for example, you've got 3 kids. You've got a kid at the elementary, the middle school, at the high school. At each level, they request a what do you call it? A residency verification letter and a notarized letter. If I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong. But if I'm asking, if can't that be streamlined so that we're not causing parents additional expense by requiring a different.
The notarized letter for residency. I believe they can use the same copy for all three schools.
Okay.
Yes.
They can use the
They,
same
they don't
copy
they don't
for
have
all
to
three
create three different
now,
ones for each
now
school.
I'm going to come to you from another aspect. I've had landlords approach me saying that they have to provide a letter for individual people. So can't there be some type of a streamline where, say, for example, they can provide you with a list of people who are are tenants in their units, so that they don't have to reproduce?
That makes sense.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
The problem becomes when 2 or 3 families are living in one unit. That's where the problem is. And that's why we request the landlord to sign something. And I think where it is that they have to have it notarized, and it costs them per signature. So,
Trustee Aguilar, just for an example's sake, just today we had a very irate lady because we were questioning the residency verification. She is stating that there's 4 different families living there, and that she's still the caretaker for 2 other nephews that just came over from Mexicali. So it's very, it's very difficult sometimes to accept some of this verification, because they don't want anyone going to the home to verify the residency. And when we do make the attempts to verify the residency at the home, they'll state, well, oh, I wasn't home. And so it's just, those are just some of the things. You may be hearing complaints from people who have very interesting situations going on, to say the least.
I know just about the residency. I know I like what you're saying about 4 or 5 family in one house, but we only collected 1 property tax. So that means that we don't receive much money to serve 8, 10 kids in the one house. We have to looking into some other subsidize the matters about taking care of those problems.
Okay. Moving on to item H, superintendent recommends approval for each of the following items, H1 to H10. I'll go one by one. Okay. Item number 1, approved minutes of regular board meeting held on July 31st, 2012. So moved by Ms. Aguilar, seconded by Ms. Romo.
I have a discussion.
Mr. Kim?
At the page, the number, I believe, 12, forensic audit, the Major J. At that time, I submit the written motion. And the written motion is supposed to be there, even we not approve it, or even lack of the die, the written motion is supposed to be there, but they was not there. That's why I prevent to those, I made the written motion, and it wasn't there.
Which one, Mr. Kim?
The
forensic audit?
Forensic audit. I made a motion, written motion to send that to the DA and Attorney General. I make the motion, then I believe the motion died at the lag of the second, and they're not there.
Madam President, the minutes should reflect, if a motion dies for lack of a second, it should be reflected in the minutes.
Ms. Burgos, did you understand that?
Was unanimous.
Yes, I did, and I need to check that.
Oh, I give you the 2. One is a statement, one is the written statements.
Okay, I will amend that to reflect that.
Okay. Anything else on the July 31st minutes?
That is the written statement, but what I'm saying, the written motion for the forensic audit, Major J, I was made the motion to Major J send the DA and the Attorney General.
There was a question on the classified report. Was that changed? It was? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So with, I have a motion for Ms. Aguilar, second by Ms. Romo.
Motion with, I'd like to make the motion reflect that
Verification.
the minutes will be revised
Okay.
and
Verification first.
to reflect Mr. Kim's motion.
Do you second that, Mrs. Romo? Second. Okay, I have first and second. All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. I'm abstaining.
Aye. Motion passes. 4 yes, 1 abstention. Item number 2, approve accounts payable pre-list.
Move.
Second.
I have
Motion by Ms.
questions.
Aguilar, second by Mrs. Romo. Mr. Kim, discussion?
Well, unfortunately, pre-released I didn't get until now. The what's called the amend one. I'm gonna working with the old ones. The page 2, action advisor. Why we needed this advisor, action advisor? It's a tutoring or?
They assist with preparing our SARC report.
Yeah, the SARC report is supposed to be running by the business department, isn't it?
No.
No.
No, that's the student accountability report card. It has we have functions in the report where we provide the data as how much money we've spent in unrestricted and restricted funds, but no, it's not a report that comes out of the business department.
So we have to have a consultant to do it.
Well, they assist with the preparation of the report. Yes.
So we cannot do that. Is other school
it's
does the
almost
same thing?
with the same, like we've talked about with mandated costs. You know, the manpower that we would have to employ many people to complete this report, whereas these folks do this for many districts every day. So it is more cost effective for us to use this company versus to try to employ many people to prepare this report.
So we cut the employees to less manpower. Same time we contracting out our job to some other contract consultant.
And it's a very specialized report too, Mr. Kim. So it's just not. It's not as.
Okay, so Michael's final question for this is other school district district does this one for the consultant or by themselves?
Many school districts use this company and other companies that also prepare the SARC reports.
No, I don't care about the company. I'm talking about the service.
Yes, absolutely.
Other school
they also employ consultants and this company to provide this service, which is preparation of the SARC.
So all of the school districts.
All the ones I work for.
Hire the consultant
Yes.
to do so.
Yes.
Thank you. The same page. Calexico High School, the 021307, the second from the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
There's catering service for the athletic during sports banquet. We never paid. I believe we never paid this one. I believe the was called the boosters or the high school ASB. They are the one funding and those. And how come this time we funding? I believe from general fund.
Yes, it is a general fund expense, and you know the high school, they are given an unrestricted general fund budget as well, and you know they can spend that for those types of services. And they did contract the services of our food service department, and they're paying for the banquet.
So this one money from the high school fund, not from the school district fund.
Not from the district offices, from the school, from the Calexico High School budget. They are given a budget. It's from their site budget. Thank you, Mr. Valenzuela.
Okay, and the other one is next in line, Calexico and revolving. We have a revolving fund about totally $7,900, about almost $8,000, without any reason. any reasonable expenses. Is that the money to paying for this kind of transaction to paying the Mr. Tejechea?
This is the revolving cash
Yes, I understand
fund.
that. But there's no specific expenditure. This new technique come out.
I'm sorry, say that again.
This is new technique come out. We're spending money without any explanations.
Well, it's not. Well, a lot of times, some of these expenditures are made because we don't have a district credit card. So a lot of times we have to be able to purchase supplies at the district, which is
Yes, I
again why
understand
we
it.
increased the
But there's no
petty
there's no
cash
use
last.
it. There's no reason where or how.
You know, I can provide you with this information because we do have all of the backup for,
Why
for all of this.
why didn't
You know, I'm
provide
not
this?
really sure why they didn't put
Okay.
a little bit more description there, but I will instruct the staff next time to be a little bit more specific.
They have
in
a
the
$3,000. I don't know who received that money. Maybe Mr. Tejechea
No,
or someone else.
no.
So
I know
there's
we
no
haven't.
expenditures here.
And I will provide the board with a list of everything
this is
that was
just no-
included
this-
in this.
Mr. Kim, she's going to provide with the information.
Don't we have to have it right now, today? When
If you'd like to pull
when
this
they make it,
payment,
they're supposed to do it.
Mr. Kim, we could have come into her office and asked.
I cannot be in the office. My safety.
I'm sorry, Mr. Kim, you're a board member.
Yes.
You have to come and conduct business here.
I
at the
cannot come in
district.
here or when they excuse us and make a story to try to sue me. I cannot be there. My safety is important.
Okay.
Mr. Kim,
Point
you-
taken. Let's move on, Mr. Kim, please. We're paying
Yeah.
for the video.
The Department of the General.
Which page, Mr. Kim?
Page
please?
4 in the middle. Page 4 of the 12.
These were for this particular payment is for the administrative law judge services, which was a part of the hearings for the layoff process. Our portion.
So from our
Thank you,
portion.
Diana. Yes, the district's portion. And ACT also made paid a portion of the bill.
Thank you. And the other one is the same pages of El Centro Elementary School. Don't we approve the not so long ago about this budget?
Yes, and this is for the coming school year.
This coming school year.
This coming school year.
So
The one that we had approved was for
it's very
the
late,
11,
it was
12.
late.
Yes,
This was earlier.
that is correct.
Then again, this oneself is showing us El Centro as a better school district than us, because we have to pay them to get the service. Why we cannot do ourselves? What the last time was they telling me
This is not a service from the El Centro School District. It's being bought. The VITS program is being paid to them, but it's not it's not something from El Centro School District.
yes, they're making the kit to sell into the school district. They to us. They're making the kit. Why we cannot make ourselves the kit? And the other one I see that still the Eddie Cole Associate again, $9,000. Wow. We still paying them for the facility again?
That's part of the Jefferson.
It's for the Jefferson
It says GE. Part of Jefferson.
So which is how many bills we left to them?
I can't answer that, Mr. Kim. I don't know offhand.
As long as there's projects that they're working on, I can't answer that either, Mr.
So
Pirelli.
I feel like we are golden goose for them. The next page, Flores, Gloria, the NCLB courses, reimbursements for the NCLB courses taken. So it looks like we're paying the teacher to reimbursement for in case if they taking the NCLB courses. So only these teachers have been paid, or some others not. That's the first time I've seen it.
As they complete the courses, they submit their information to HR for reimbursement.
So why these teachers only? If
Well,
that happens, okay?
again, as they
can't
complete
submit until
the,
they finish the
until they
course.
finish the course. So
Okay.
as they complete them, we will reimburse them.
Okay, same line. There's a big ones coming. We have a 5.4 earthquake. GCR LLP. We paying $54,000. We paying this $54,000. There's no.
That's 2 months,
And
Mr.
it's
Kim.
2 months worth of bills.
There's no timeline to service. You saying that it's 2 months. Black and white doesn't say anything.
Well, it says for November and December of 2011.
But there's a paper that doesn't say anything.
I'm
So how
sorry,
are
I
we gonna
don't-
know how many months? 1 month we've been overcharged or not? I've been keep asking the detail. It's not it's giving. And
Mr.
also this one, even now, they don't put any more details on service time. So we don't know how we're gonna be like a blind shooting.
If I may interrupt, Mr. Kim.
Yes.
If you will come to my office, I will escort you to the business office so you don't feel threatened. I will be happy to show you all the information. Just come to my office and I will walk with you so you're not threatened.
Mr. Fagali, I am talking about the public information. This one's supposed to be a public information. It's not details there. How are we going to do this one? This is our transparency to the community?
Mr. Kim, there is no detailed items on each item.
Even not 1 month of service, they're not there. So we don't know how 54 million, not 54 millions. They get used to millions. $54,000. And we don't know until 1 month's bill or half month's bill. Now they're saying 2 months bill.
Mr. Kim, excuse me, speak for yourself because we do know what the billing is. We do come and see the billing for each of these items.
Excuse me. That is public information. Has to be let the public know.
This is a ongoing conversation.
On
This is an
every single
ongoing
month.
argument every single month. Let's move forward.
Point taken, Mr. Kim.
We have a duty to disclosure to the public information.
Mr. Kim.
This is public information.
I understand.
And you
Mr. Kim.
disclosing.
We are looking at
We are
these
disclosing this
items, Mr. Kim, and you can move on. If you have anything else on that item,
Probably for 3
please
days.
say it.
We need to bring the transparency to the public.
I would like to say that there is a check made out for me for stipend. I will return it or just take it back because I haven't even seen it.
But I have 3 days for review, whatever.
We all have time to review.
Okay.
Any other page, Mr. Kim?
I'm sorry, I would like to make a comment on this, and I'm sorry, I'm not attacking you, Mr. Kim, but I got my agenda and my pre-list last week, and I had questions, and I came in and asked the questions. I mean, we can't spend all this time going through this pre-list, item by item. We do this every meeting. I understand you want to show the community, transparency, but some of these things are so obvious. That we don't have to discuss item by item. This is taking a tremendous amount of time every meeting. And I'm not defending any item in particular. And today, please do not accuse me of defending a lawyer, because I'm not defending a lawyer today.
Yes, you do.
No, and you're wrong.
Okay, move on, please. Mr. Valenzuela, finish your point.
My whole point is that we're spending a whole lot of time on this particular item when we have plenty of time between the time of the receiving the agenda and the time of the meeting.
Thank you.
Okay, this one is a public information. Should be in the written 1 month bill. It's not there.
Okay, I call for the question.
Second.
Thank you. And
Motion
the-
has been made by Ms. Aguilar, seconded by Mrs. Romo. All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
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 No, because this one is not transparency for the community.
Aye. Motion passes 4-1. Item number 3, resolution commending Sergeant Odin Ayala for his dedication and distinguished services to the defense of our country. Ms. Aguilar, you
Madam
wanna-
President, I'd like to, once again, Mr. Sergeant Odin is in, under medical treatment, so once again, he's He's been out of town, and so I asked that if we could move this to September, and hopefully his medical appointments won't interfere with this, and I apologize. This is the second
May I
time I asked
suggest you
that.
table it?
Motion to table it.
I'll second that.
Okay, I have a motion to table by Mr. Valenzuela, seconded by Ms. Aguilar. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
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 Roll call.
Oh, no, it's not roll call, it's
No,
just table.
Table, okay,
It's
sorry.
table.
Yes, aye.
Mr. Kim?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 5-1. I mean 5-0. Item number 4, resolution to reinstate up to 25 teachers based on enrollment and particular kinds of services. I have a speaker, Mr. Raul Ureña.
Right. Thank you. My name is Raul, and I have to say that I'm not. I'm pleased that you're bringing back some teachers, but it's not good enough. You need to bring back all the teachers, then hire some more teachers on top of that. You'll need more custodians, more counselors, and maybe then you'll have good class sizes, clean classrooms, and counselors available for the students. I personally would like to see about 20 to 25 students per class, but it seems that we're seeing numbers of 50 kids per class next year. And it's very unsafe to have 40 to 50 kids to classrooms. What happens if a fight breaks out, or if there's a fire or an earthquake? How is the teacher going to grade the papers of 50 kids' assignments? How are the students supposed to concentrate in a classroom full of screaming kids, as it already is? It's not very easy. Class size is a very important factor, and it should be taken seriously. We should stop lining up the administrators' and lawyers' pockets with extra money, because parents in this town work hard and pay their taxes, so that money gets used in education and not for satisfying the greed of other people. This board is really a prime example of how irresponsible and inefficient government is at doing anything. I trust me, if education in this country was controlled by a free, laissez-faire system, Calexico Unified would have lost all its students to the competition. Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam President, can we change that number to 27?
No.
27.
Reason? I'm sorry.
We have,
Reason?
we were able to find money for 2 more.
Okay, yes.
Let's continue to find more money.
Well, that's what we're working on.
I make a motion to
so-
approve it.
Second.
With,
Can we read that resolution, please?
As amended to 27, Mr. Kim, please.
Yes.
Judy?
As amended.
Okay.
Let's amend the resolution. This is for 27?
Yes, you can amend you can just make the motion to adopt the resolution as proposed and amended.
Okay.
Ms. Aguilar, will you read the resolution?
Sure.
I have discussions. If anybody has that.
Well, first, need to read the resolution, if you don't mind.
It's not necessary to read it, but if
No.
you want to read it, you can.
Oh, then don't read it.
Go, Mr. Kim.
Okay. 27, that's for me is a fake number. To make the fake number to make everybody happy, but it's not really happening. Why? We had 83 teachers laid off. From there, we have 11, beside 83 teachers laid off, we have 11 retirees. And we have 4 resigned teachers. When you subtract it from the 25 to 15, you only have 10 teachers hiring back. Well, 27 teachers, they might coming back, might get the job back, but student side or parent side, there is no increasement of the teachers. Why? Because we only have 27, we're going to have 12 teachers coming back. But I believe we're going to, if we pull them out from the class, 13 academic coaches, we still have 1 teacher short. So which is we don't gain for the public, we don't get any teachers to help the class size reductions. we need to have a more number to hire to have at least about 30 more teachers to hire to have a certain level of the students. So this mathematically just joke. Just whatever is covered is not going to be in the classroom because we are 11 teachers are retired, 4 design, 4 or 5 teachers been resigned it, and we're going to use the categorical fund for the 13. The academic coach is going to come back, so we are going to pull out from the class. So actually, there is no more teachers extra for the classroom for the beside the 83 teacher we lost. We still going to starting with the class teachers, 83 teachers less.
Thank you, Mr. Kim. Any board members
Thank
want to
you.
put some input? No? Okay.
I do have some discussion. Ms. Estrada, can you please come up? Can you please provide a quick summary of how the callbacks or how the reinstatement process was handled?
It hasn't been handled yet. We were waiting for the board to act on the resolution, and we're governed by education code. First, what the district does is look at the needs, and based on the need, then we call back according to seniority, and obviously they have to have the appropriate credential for that area. So, but it's all governed by education code. It's not a policy that the board implements. It's the law.
Okay, so I guess then let me make my question even more pointed or direct is, and I did mention it earlier, so in the same way that people were laid off, that's the same way they're being brought back?
In the reverse area, yeah, in the matter. So it has to be by seniority, and it has to be by the particular kinds of services. So the same way that it was determined when the teachers were laid off, you first determine the particular kinds of services. So it's the same thing we're doing now. We have to determine those particular kind of services first, then go by the seniority list. And again, in reverse, with the one having the most seniority and the appropriate credential is the first one to come back if that's a particular kind of service that we're requiring. Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. You got it? Good. Okay. So,
I'd like to
we have a-
request about to
we-
consider
You have
increase
a-
the numbers.
we have a motion on the floor by Mr. Kim, seconded by Mr. Valenzuela, for 27 teachers based on enrollment and particular kinds of service to be
Madam
reinstated.
President, I have a question for Dr. Fagale, please.
Mhm.
Is possible that in the future more money for others teachers? Come back?
We're looking very carefully at our budget. In fact, the delay in approving the budget was a question that the county office was questioning, in fact, that we were bringing 25 back. And we were able to convince them that we had sufficient funds for that. One of the major deterrents from bringing more back is that we were required in our budget to include the then $441 per ADA should the governor's
Initiative.
my mind is
The tax proposal.
the governor's plan failed in the November election. We had to put that in. If that passes, then we have a little over $3 million available for us to bring more staff back. But at this point, we had to protect the district, and we're required by not only the county and the state to put that in. So that's one area that we're looking, that we won't know until November. We are looking to see if we can do something more with categorical funds.
Okay. And that's Prop 30. Proposition 30.
No comment.
We need to be very careful. I hear what Mr. Kim is saying, but we need to be very careful that we don't end up like every other year that we lay off 80 and we bring back 80, because then all the struggles that we went through last year, we did them for nothing, because we're going to end up in the same red line again. And the reason why we did the struggle is because we wanted to do the big change at once, so that at least for a few years we can have a breather time. So I myself don't expect to bring 80 teachers back this year, but we will be bringing back teachers as we need and as the budget allows us to bring them back. Okay, there's a motion and a second. All in favor of the motion?
Roll call.
Roll call.
Oh, I'm sorry. Roll call. Ms. Aguilar?
Aye.
Mr. Kim?
Yes, followed by we should bring more teachers.
Thank you. Mrs. Romo?
Yes.
Mr. Valenzuela?
Yes.
And myself, yes. Resolution passes 5-0. Item number 5, resolution authorizing the reinstatement of the preschool program and rehire preschool teachers.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Valenzuela, second by Ms. Aguilar. Discussion?
Yes. Do we gonna bring the same teachers who used to be there, or?
Yes.
Thank you.
Is a roll call.
Is that the same? I'm not sure. Is it 3 or 4 teachers?
3, no?
3.
Three.
Three teachers.
One retired.
One retired. So we're not replacing the retired.
Yeah.
Oh. Thank you.
Do we gonna replacement retires or not? Only 3 teachers? Teachers only. So that means
We're gonna end up with 4.
we're gonna end up with
Resolution
4.
We're gonna bring one of our other staff members back.
Oh,
Mrs.
okay.
Flores retired.
Don't confuse. The resolution says 3. Okay.
Yeah.
Call for the question. Roll call. Ms. Aguilar.
Aye.
Mr. Kim.
Hi.
Ms. Romo.
Aye.
Mr. Valenzuela.
Aye.
Ms. Duarte. Aye. Resolution passes 5-0. Item number 6, proposal for supplemental educational services SES management software EZSES.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion.
Well, supplemental educational service, which is the same ones we have been what's called the explanation by the Miss.
It's the same company that we've been using. This past year, we had about a $800,000 contract.
But this year, $300,000 contract.
Six.
Yes, sir.
Software. Software.
This is the software for it. Right. I'm just saying it's the same company.
Okay. A motion made by Ms. Aguilar, seconded by Mr. Valenzuela. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
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 Mr. Kim?
Yes.
Okay. Aye. Motion passes 5-0. Item number 7, approve for trustee Norma Aguilar, trustee Ruth Duarte, and trustee Gloria Romo to attend the California Latino School Board Association San Diego from October 4th through the 7th. Do you hear a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Valenzuela, second by Ms. Aguilar.
I have one question.
Discussion.
I also
Mr.
have
Kim?
discussion.
One of the question is what fund we gonna spend this one? General fund or categorical fund?
Categorical.
Categorical. Well, I was gonna try to go, but my circumstances I cannot go this time.
Well, if you, Mr. Kim, if it changes, we'll still get you in. If something changes between now and then, you have almost 2 months, so.
Okay, then can you put can you amend my name there if I'm possible? I can go.
Sure, we'll be glad. Do you want us to do it now?
Might
Yes.
as well.
Okay. We'll take
So
care of
adding
it.
my name.
Mr. Valenzuela, can you amend
We'll
your
have to add
motion?
your
I would
name
like
to
to amend
this.
my motion to write in Mr. Kim in case he's available to go.
I second.
Okay,
By the
motion-
way, the Miss Bao was mentioning. Can we leave that morning, early morning?
In one room.
I
In
will
one
withdraw
room.
my name from
Oh
the
my
conference.
gosh. In one room and one plate, okay?
I think, can the clarification be made, Janet, as to why?
There is,
Voy a llevar pijamas.
on October 4th, there is a dinner reception, and then that Sunday, the 7th, there is a morning reception that you guys are invited to attend, and that's why the dates are different. It's not leaving early or coming back.
Okay, I call for the question. All in favor of the motion, adding Mr. Kim on here? I went blank.
Signify
All
by
in
saying
favor
aye.
of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 5-0. Item number 8, approval of 2013 application for funding in accordance with consolidation application requirements.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay. Who motioned? Mr. Valenzuela? Second, Mr. Kim?
Yes.
Okay. Discussion?
No.
Hearing none. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
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 Aye. Motion passes 5-0. Approval of Williams uniform complaints for April 2012.
Made a motion to approve it.
Second.
Second.
Have a motion by Mr. Kim, second by Mr. Valenzuela. All in favor of the motion?
Can I
Aye.
have a discussion a little bit?
Okay, discussion?
Yeah, I believe this one, even when minus we approving this the uniform complaint form, it should be at the front of the school, each school. And I have a lot of complaint from the parents. They couldn't have it. That they couldn't find this form. Every school district and every school at the front doors are supposed to be always there.
I will double check, Mr. Kim, but I
Yes.
believe we've corrected that.
Okay, and well, that's my concern.
Okay. All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 5-0. Consider the
Aye,
engagement
yeah.
of...
Aye.
Oh, hurry up. Consider the engagement of Caldwell Winters Flores Incorporated as financial advisor for the purpose of restructuring the outstanding certificates of participation COPS.
We have a
Do
presentation.
you want presentation? Mr. Flores? Is he Mr. Flores?
I don't have a minute. I don't have a minute to spend adding this one.
You need a new agenda. I don't have this. I'll get an agenda. I don't have that.
I need one too now.
Okay, I'll get it for you.
Thank you.
I have it on mine. Thank you, sir.
I brought the contracts too. Should I distribute the contracts?
That. It's in there, I don't have it.
I actually have an extra copy if somebody needs one. We're waiting for Trustee Valenzuela. Should I? Should I get started? Okay. So I see the red light on. I can hear myself, so you can hear me? Very well. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for allowing me to address you tonight. My name is Lalo Trujillo. I'm the Managing Director of the Financial Advisory Services Unit of Caldwell Flores Winters. We're a company that's been in business for over 25 years, serving the needs of school districts in a number of disciplines. Ladies and gentlemen, we're in the fourth year of the so-called Great Recession, and school districts throughout California are struggling, and I've heard a lot of comments here tonight, and the big struggle is obviously how to manage the budget and how to bring relief to the general fund. And I know that oftentimes that involves painful cuts, oftentimes it involves layoffs, and in that area you have a lot of company in the state. You're not alone. Everybody's going through that, and I've heard a lot of discussion here about your own layoffs, so I'm aware that you had very painful layoffs. Where you don't have a lot of company is that where other school districts have very little options for financial relief, you actually do. And I'm here to discuss one specific option with you, and that's the presentation that you have in front of you. And I'd like to walk you through that, if I may. Do we have it on... you can just refer to the handout, I guess. Let's flip page by page.
Mm-hmm.
First,
you have the extra one?
I do.
They can put it on the screen.
Oh, you have it?
Yes.
Yes. I think there was a PowerPoint as well in electronic format, so.
Javier, can you make it read the whole page?
Yeah.
That's it. Little smaller.
They're never going to do it. Yeah.
Okay. Very well. Let me continue, if I may. As you know by the title of this item, we're here to discuss the option of restructuring COPs, certificates of participation, also known as lease obligations, lease payment obligations. Now, unlike general obligation bonds, which are paid by the taxpayers of the district, lease obligations are a burden on the general fund of the district, a very different type of financial instrument. There are two such obligations that the district is carrying right now. There is a CSBA lease obligation. This was entered into in 2001 when interest rates were very favorable. That obligation carries an interest rate of approximately 2.11%. Very, very low. We would not want to touch that. We want to leave that one alone. At the bottom of this sheet here, this first slide, you see the next obligation, which is the subject of this discussion. Those are the 2009 COPs, issued in March 31 of 2009. Now, that date is important because the financial disaster that we're in started right before that, in 2008. In 2008, when things got really tough in the financial markets, districts couldn't even issue highly rated general obligation bonds. There was no market. So you're only a few months removed from that. I don't know the circumstances surrounding this financing. I was not around then, obviously. But it was done in a very difficult environment, very high rates. And another factor that influenced that financing is that investors were not very willing to go long term. They had to be very short term. They had to be paid off over a short period of time. Again, there were conditions surrounding this financing that made it very onerous to carry for the long term. The result of that is that your general fund right now is carrying this obligation at an interest of approximately 6.75%. In this interest rate environment, that's a very expensive debt. The bigger problem is that on a cash flow basis, you're paying approximately $875,000 from your general fund until maturity of 9/1/2017. So you are, for lack of better terms, you're stuck with that debt until 2017 if left untouched. If we go to the next slide, you can see the detail of how those payment obligations look like year by year. These are fiscal years. On the left side, you see the CSBA lease. The one I mentioned is low cost and should stay. In the middle, you see this 2009 COPs. Notice in parentheses is the BBB+. That's a rating agency designation. Two main firms that are out there in the marketplace that rate bonds for investors are Moody's Investor Service and Standard & Poor's. This is a Standard & Poor's designation. It's BBB+. It's considered investment grade. However, it is not as good as the current rating that the district has, which is A-. So you're rated better now than you were then. Again, a plus to the district in the current environment. You see in that middle column, if you will, the total of the payments that this obligation is putting on the general fund. It's roughly $875,000 per year, every single year. For a combined total on the right of the two obligations in the neighborhood of $1.3 million until that particular obligation goes away, and then you get some relief down to $391 because you're carrying the other obligation to its own maturity. If you go to the next slide, I want to describe to you what we mean by restructuring. Before I do that, let me simplify the concept for you. We all have it. If we haven't entered into home mortgages, we at least know about them. And very often, you'll hear a discussion of a 15-year mortgage versus a 30-year mortgage. And very often, you'll hear that the 15-year mortgage is cheaper, lower rate. If you do the math, if you go to a mortgage consultant, if you do the math, you'll also see that it has higher payments. You're paying off the debt more quickly. Consequently, to pay that debt off, you're going to be bearing a higher burden every month. Another feature that is standard in the marketplace is what we call the rate structure. And that is, if you borrow something for 1 year, you're going to pay a certain rate. If you ask for the same loan for 30 years, you're going to pay a significantly higher rate. Those two features govern the payment. In a 15-year mortgage, then it follows that if all conditions are normal, you are going to be paying in a 15-year mortgage both a lower rate and making payments over a shorter period of time. Therefore, you will have borrowed for a shorter period, so the interest total that you pay is commensurately lower. Those are the two conditions that I can differentiate between the two. In this situation here, we're not comparing apples to apples. In other words, we're not comparing today's 15-year mortgage with today's 30-year mortgage. We're comparing the 2009 rate with today's rate. And interestingly, because rates have dropped so much, we all know what's going on with mortgages, for example. They're extremely attractive, extremely low. Because rates have dropped so much, we could actually restructure here at a rate that is about the same, and we think that it is very conceivable that it would be lower than the rate that you paid in 2009. So that if we do restructure, we're not so much concerned about paying more for the interest rate. We're only concerned about for how long. So the one component that we really look at here is the period. Are we going to restructure a 15-year to a 30-year, or something in between, or something less? Let me walk you through the structure that we're proposing, okay? On the left side, graphically, and we're going to show you the numerical presentation in the page that follows. So if the graphic is not very clear, I'm going to walk you through it, but at the very least, you'll see it in numbers. On the left side, you have the existing payments. And you can see how they're represented. The two debts are in different colors. The one that is static, which is the blue, that's the CSBA one. We're not going to touch that. The green is the one that we want to restructure. That's how it exists. On the right side, you see what happens if we restructure. If we restructure so that we give ourselves 3 years of relief, in other words, push the debt out until there is potentially a financial recovery, until potentially the state has a better wherewithal to assist school districts, until potentially we may be in an election cycle where you go for a bond issue. Lots of things could happen. You give yourself the freedom for 3 years of bringing down the payments by approximately $500,000. This is one option. Now, I don't know the math here specifically, but I would guess that's a good 7 teachers, 6 to 7 teachers. So that's the way I do the math. And you would have that relief given to you without incurring potentially a higher rate in the marketplace. It's really restructuring just the repayment so that you lower your payments, give yourself relief. I'm sorry, you may have a question.
Yes, that's $500,000 a year savings?
Correct. Correct. And that's for 3 years. So that's one option. Numerically, as I indicated before, as with the 15-year mortgage versus 30-year mortgage comparison, when you extend the period, that means you're asking the investors to wait longer for the repayment, which means you're adding the number of years that you're paying interest. So this doesn't come at a zero cost. There's a cost, and the cost is that we're keeping the loan outstanding a few more years. So we're paying that additional interest. And you can see that on the next page where we go through the numbers, how they look like. The middle one is what we call the refunding. That's the restructured COP. So you can see how the debt would change. You can see the first 3 years, we drop that $875,000 payment to essentially $380,000. So that is the difference. On the right side, you see the combined effect. Again, the combined effect of the two loans is that the general fund suddenly has an additional $500,000 each of the next 3 years. Now, I did say that this does not come at a zero cost. There is a cost. If you go to the next slide, we represent what that cost is. And this is what we're terming restructured lease payments option number 1. On the far right, you see the savings, and then at the bottom, you see the so-called dis-savings. In other words, as you push out the debt, then you have a negative. When you net the two, the cost of adding that additional period of repayment, in other words, carrying the debt, that additional period, is $1.334 million. So that's your cost over time as you make these payments, okay? That is option number 1.
What are the possibilities of reducing the interest below 5%?
The below 5%, unfortunately, the rate itself is dependent on 2 factors. One, the borrowing period, again, going back to the 15-year and 30-year mortgage comparison, and then the prevailing interest rates in the market. There's nothing we can do about the prevailing interest rates in the market. What we can do is move the period around to see what that rate would be. These are indications that we're giving you based on the feedback. The reality is, as you folks know, rates move daily. So each day, we don't know if we're going to wake up to a higher rate or a lower rate than when we went to sleep. But that all said, the markets have been very stable lately in terms of municipal bonds. There's actually a little bit of a push for lower rates. We hit, in the last 6 months, we hit several record lows. The last low, historic lows. The last low we hit was about a week and a half ago. It just broke through the previous record. What's driving it? Well, we all know. We're in a recession. The whole world is in a recession. It's a global recession. And until we come out of the recession, there is a push to keep economic activity vibrant, and the only way you do that is with low rates. So we're crossing our fingers that if you were to authorize us to move forward with this, that the rate environment would stay benevolent and it would be in this neighborhood when we go to the market. But what I'm showing you here, Superintendent Fragale, is the indications that we have from the market. Obviously, from our end, we would do whatever we could to push down that rate.
I have one other question. We're at A- rating now. Because of our new budgeted, our new approved budget, do you think that possibly the rating might change upward a little? From A- to A?
I would hope on our end, we're going to advocate for you to get the highest rating and the lowest rate. We do that for our clients. That's our job. The way the metrics are used by the rating agencies, absolutely. This is a budget. This is a general fund obligation. The budget plays a big part in that. You have demonstrated that you are willing to make necessary cuts to keep the budget healthy. That's a positive sign on their, in their view. And we would put forth the best story on behalf of the district to make sure that that is known and that we get you the highest rating. So let's go to the slide that has option number 2. Option number 2 takes the restructuring out further. It gives you 5 years of relief. And I'm presenting to you 2 options only so that you see how they work. The fact of the matter is that there's a continuum here. We don't have to have 3 or 5. We can do 4. We can do 6. This is just to show you numerically how the 2 options contrast with each other and what's driving it. And I think you get the picture. The picture is the longer you go out, the more it's going to cost you. So numerically, it's on the next page. But here, pictorially, you can see we pick up a little bit more time in relief. And numerically, you can see how those numbers pan out on the next slide. And that is that now we have 5 years of relief. And that's the middle column, where it says total of the 2012 refunding COPS. Your total for 5 years of 375. Again, now we're pushing out a couple more years. So there is a cost to that, and that's in the next page. In the next page, you see the comparison, whereas before we had 1.33 as the total cost over the time of the restructuring. Now that number has moved up to 1.7. So we picked up another around $400,000 in interest costs for the 2 additional years. Obviously, that would be expected. You're keeping investors from being paid for 2 more years. They're going to want interest, and there's a cost to that. So that is the way the options are presented to you here for you to consider. In the last slide, we summarize what I was just describing to you. It shows you that in option number 1, we're going to get savings of $500,000 for 3 years. Final maturity is extended from fiscal 2018 until fiscal 2022, and the debt service increase is $1.33 million. Option number 2, again, $500,000 savings. We're doing it for 5 years. And the final maturity is moved out to 2023 at a cost of $1.71 million. Now, the key thing here is that there are 2 objectives. One is to create cash flow relief for the general fund, but the other one is also to allow for a positioning, if you will, for this debt to be transferred to the tax base at a future time. I am aware that you gave serious consideration to a bond issue not too long ago, decided it was not the right time. I also have heard a lot of discussions here about facilities needs and a number of projects that may be suitable for a general obligation bond authorization to be sought by the board. This gives you some time to continue considering that without draining the general fund to repay this obligation. The consensus in the marketplace is that capital facilities belong with the tax base, not with the general fund. As I said before, we were not involved in structuring this obligation for you. It is here, and the reality is that the general fund is paying for capital facilities, and that's not really the design. Typically, these kinds of financings are called bridge financings. You're going to do them just for a brief period of time. You're going to minimize the impact on the general fund until you can take it out with a general bond obligation. This was not the structure that you got saddled with. You got saddled with a very onerous structure, and the general fund is suffering. And a lot of your discussions here are centered around the problems that you have with your general fund. This is one option you have to bring back some financial relief to the general fund. If you were to authorize this to move forward, there's a contract in front of you. Let me explain to you a couple of key features. Number one, and most important, is you don't owe us a dime if we don't succeed. If we move forward on your behalf and this thing does not close to your satisfaction, in other words, if we don't get you the financing that we all agree we're going to move forward with, if we're unsuccessful, not a dime is owed to Caldwell Flores Winters. This is only if we are able to bring you the relief that if you authorize this, we all agree with staff you want to go out and seek. That's the key point I want to leave you with in terms of our involvement. It does have a termination date of, let me double check, I believe it was 2013 or 15, I believe. And the reason for that is that we would like to be retained for this specific financing to help you with the takeout. When you do the takeout of the restructured COPs with a general obligation bond, we'd like to be there to assist you with that if you should wish to retain us. So with that, I'd like to open it up to any questions.
Mr. Trujillo, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Mr. Trujillo, I see here that the bond would be issued and, have to go out on 2014. If we were to go with the 5-year, it still has to be the 14. We wouldn't be able to move it to 15.
The restructuring?
The GOB.
Let me restate.
No, Madam President, I believe your question, the GO bonds can only be done during a regularly scheduled election of the board, the general election that's contained within the district. So you cannot do it, you can only do it this November, which is too late,
Yeah.
or you do it in 2 years, which would be in 2014.
2014, correct.
Okay, but if we were to go the 5-year, it wouldn't be able to be extended till 2016?
So if you were to go, if we did the 5-year, that essentially would give you 2 shots, if you will, at the election, one in 2014 and one in 2016. So you could decide.
2014 would be a little too preliminary because.
Exactly, and so those are the considerations that you have to go through. So going back to what I said, this is a continuum that we can pick what date it makes sense, and those are the right questions. The right questions is, how do we choose the right structuring, restructuring, and considering when you would go out to obtain authorization for a bond issue is hugely important in that consideration.
Well, I have to say that I'm glad that this is being looked at because we're paying for cops and we don't even know what it's being paid for. And we're paying big checks. We just sent one out 2 months ago for 800 or 500,000 or 800. Mike?
About 800.
The
cops was about 7.
Yeah. Oh, it's on this one.
Yeah, it's
we're
on the
paying
schedule.
already.
Yeah.
About
So
750.
yeah, and I mean, we have no idea why we're paying this, but we're stuck with it. And this is part of our problem. It's not because this board mismanaged the budget. It's because in the previous, this came about and it fell on our hands. Unfortunately, we have to sign the dotted line now, so it becomes our deal. And I don't think this district can afford to continue paying the way it's paying right now, because that is from the general fund, and it's unfair to be paying for the way we are. And if we can change the interest rate and change the way we're paying it, I don't see why there is even a question as to why is this in front of us. We all, I mean, I want to refinance my house right now, but unfortunately, the way the law says, I can't because I'm not under. But this is a school district, and we have a good opportunity here to save some money now. And with November election coming up, and we don't know what the tax thing's going to be, I don't see that it's a wrong thing to do at this time.
Madam President, our office was consulted regarding that recent payment that was made, which is actually due September 1st, and our opinion was that we could, out of the restructuring, working with Caldwell Flores Winters, we could actually reimburse the district for that payment for this year. That way you can achieve those savings immediately rather than having to wait, because the payment is due September 1st, which means the payment has to go out now. And the idea here is that you're trying to bring relief to this current year, because this is a year where you're having the difficult financial time. So there is a way to actually reimburse the district for that payment out of the refunding, which has already been included in these numbers from what I understand.
Correct.
Okay. And there we go with the 6-7 teachers. You know, we're trying to find money. We have something in front of us that works, and in 2 years there's going to be new people on this board, and in 4 years from then there's going to be more people, new people, and this is going to be going till 2023, whether we change it or not.
Or whether we're here or not.
But if we can save some money now in these critical times, because we don't know what this education recession is going to, how long it's going to take.
Well, I certainly agree, and if we can save $500,000 a year for 5 years,
that's a no-brainer.
You know, that really is a no-brainer, and we're looking at $400,000 on the back end, but the back end isn't what's important. Between now and then, if we get a GO bond, which would be included, we would be saving all of those dollars except the $300,000 for the CSBA loan, or thereabouts. So we're not looking at just $500,000. We're looking at several million, about maybe $3 or $4 million in the long run.
Yeah, and I don't want to speak either out of turn or make false promises, but there's always the possibility that depending on how bond council comes out, that when you do a bond election, it is potentially possible that you could take out the other lease, the CSBA lease.
But first of all, any bond gonna come out, I'm the one gonna be first to block the bond. We are criminal process in our district. This is joke numbers. This number makes us couple million dollars more.
Excuse me, Mr. Kim.
Yes.
Please, this is a board
I
meeting.
understand. So
Your
what I'm saying
decorum. Please moderate your tone.
Okay?
Thank
because you guys looks like worshiping the loan. That's why I got kind of upset, because this number is whole corrugated number. I'm not going to say corruption. Corrugated number to mislead us. We're going to save money. Actually, we spend a lot more money. A couple of years later, board members say, "Oh, former board member made the wrong decision. That's why I'm in here." First of all, you guys, we're talking about the bond issuing about 3 years later. The bond should not issue. The bond only valuable when we have a very necessary for the public directly the benefit. That's the only bond should be issued.
Mr. Kim, it is a benefit, because regardless whether we were to go this way or continue paying the way we're paying, we're still paying. We're still paying, and we're not getting any relief. So
the bond is we're going to ask the parents, the people to pay more money. We can pay this. That's simple.
But let me share something with you. At this point, we're taking $1.2 million out of our general fund budget that could be going for staff, for materials, etc.
Yes,
and let me finish. If you go to the general public, where it belongs, as he said earlier, this should be a taxable thing. should not be taken from our children. And that's what's happening. We have to take, when we build the budget, Mr. Kim, basically we take $1.2 million, whatever our number is, and subtract $1.2 million to start with. Now, we're talking, if we just use teachers as staff, we're talking about 15 people.
Okay, you're not convinced me. Thank
I'm
you.
not.
Okay.
I don't expect
Look,
to convince you.
Okay, yeah. So the option one, they saying the overall until 2023, we have to pay $1.3 million more. So in order to we get $1.5 million for the 3 years. We saving money. We don't pay $1.5 million, but end up we have to pay $2.8 million for the rest of the years. So make us we paying totally we saving $1.5 million, but we're gonna pay $2.8 million for the option one. So we're paying $1.3 million more than we actually received it. And then option two, we're gonna have $2.5 million. About 5 years, we're gonna have about $500,000 pay less, but we're gonna pay totally $4.2 million rest of the years, which is here's year 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. 5 years, paying $850,000. So which is we are paying all totally $4.2 million.
Because the loan is being extended, Mr.
Yes.
Kim. But you know, that's
the best loan. Can I finish? Can I finish, please? The best loan is we get the lower rate, and from now on we making evenly payments. We don't pay. Actually, we're gonna save the money a little bit, but we're gonna save the money because we pay less interest. If we defer the payments right now to saving 3 years, we're not paying $500,000. All the cumulative interest is going to go back there. We have to pay $2.8 million. If we took the 5 years, then we're going to do 5 years to about, we pay $1.7 million more totally.
Mr. Kim, do you have any questions of me on the numbers? Are they pretty clear to you?
Oh yeah, numbers pretty clear. Oh,
okay.
You made a good job.
Good.
You made a good job, but very clearly for me it's saving a lot of time to calculating. You already have it pre-calculated.
Correct.
But I'm the one who, for example, if I want to do refinance my house, I have to see the overall cost.
Right.
And one of my friends, he refinanced the house, interest only.
Yes.
And now he's losing the house.
Wow.
Okay.
That's
lots of cases like a similar this one. Yeah. We defer our payments $500,000 for the 3 years. Yeah, 3 years. Then we have to pay $1.3 million more for the interest. So actually, $1.5 million we're not paying this time. We're saving 3 months, and for the future board members, they have to pay $1.3 million.
And that is what the previous board did to us, Mr. Kim.
Okay, no, we're gonna do that for the future board.
Buck. We can't file bankruptcy. We can't cut the loan. We can't do anything. So
there's a lot of I see a lot of place.
I call for the question. We've heard the presentation. Thank you, Mr. Trujillo. It was a good presentation. It gives us something to think about. And the question has been called. So now I need a motion.
I make the motion to not to approve it.
Okay, I have a motion not to approve. Do I hear a second? Hearing none, can I have another motion?
I'd like to motion. Before I make the motion, I'd like to ask a question. Is there an urgency for us to take action on this item right now?
I would say right now is the best time because we've just got a new budget, a positive budget. We get save some of the money that we have to pay this year, The cops?
If we make the decision right now or we make the decision in September, will we still realize the savings?
We may not be able
that
to
I
get
can't answer
retro
the
on
question.
that.
The only issue is the September payment. So there, it may be
Would
just less of a
if
savings.
we decide today or if we decide in September, would we be able to realize the savings that you mentioned?
I guess let me frame the way I look at it. You're deciding today to authorize us to move forward, but that is really controlled by the staff, by your administrative staff. So your administrative staff can take direction from you that while you authorize us to move forward, you want to control the timing as to when we do this. What that does is it gives your staff the flexibility to work with you on timing so that when you do decide to go forward, we don't have to go through this process again, the reapproval. Basically, we're waiting for a board meeting and the timing. Meanwhile, rates get away from us. A number of factors could change. This does not in any way obligate the staff to, one, move the transaction forward or close it. It gives them the flexibility to then direct the financing team from my firm to move at their direction. So you're approving them to move forward, but you can work with them and direct the timing, and you can put a stop to it at any given time via your own direction to them. It gives us that flexibility. This does not in any way obligate you to close the transaction.
And another thing is that we don't pay anything as they do this until they fully guarantee that this is.
And I'd like to, is that my correct interpretation of the contract as you see it?
I believe so, yes. Okay. And I think, don't you have to come back to the board once you've structured everything?
Exactly. Not only are you in control of what your staff does, but the documentation itself to close the transaction involves a resolution, involves loan documents being approved by you, involves a revisit so that you see what are the terms of how this thing looks like once we've finalized it, and how it's going to look once you have it closed and on the books. So this will not in any way get away from you, if I may use that expression. You're in firm control. By approving this, it gives you the flexibility that we would not have if we have to wait for the process to move forward.
Thank you.
Does that answer your question, Mr. Aguilar?
I believe we're making big mistake here.
Do you have?
I don't have. That's why not the
excuse
backup
me,
document
and
in
still
there.
have the floor, Mr.
Okay.
Kim. And I withdraw any motion that I don't wish to
You
make
don't
an
have a
motion.
motion. Okay.
I don't have a motion. at
Mr.
this time.
Valenzuela, you had made.
I make a motion to approve.
Okay, I have a motion to approve. Do I hear a second?
Wow.
I second the motion. All in
Discussions.
favor?
Discussion. This is the criminal activities or dumb board members. We
Mr.
pay.
Kim,
Yes.
with all due respect,
Yes, that's what. I have a right to my
you
opinion.
have a right, but you have
Okay.
not. You do not have
It's
a
not
right to
criminal.
insult.
No, I
us.
don't insult anybody.
No,
just
no.
did.
So the decision you guys make, we are
I call for
we
the
are
question.
front of the public.
I call for
we
the
are our
question.
duty is to make the right decision for the public.
I
Okay.
call for the question. There's a motion on the floor made by Mr. Valenzuela, seconded by myself, Ms. Duarte. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
No, no, because this is something funny cases.
Ms.
So
Romo?
not a major J. I need it in writing.
Ms. Romo?
I think. But there's good opportunity, but
Somebody making good money from here.
yes, this is a school district. This is not in my house, need your house, need forever. It's very good opportunity, yes. Just a moment, please. And what option? Number 1 or number 2?
They're going to work on it, and they will come back to the board to see the options that we have, or what was the best option they took.
Okay. Yes.
Yes? Ms. Aydar?
Yes.
Yes. Motion passes 4-1. We're now going to close session. Mr. Calderon?
The board is going to go into closed session now. It's 9:12 p.m. And there are two items on the closed session agenda: public employee appointments, Government Code Section 54957, and it includes all the positions included in the certificated and classified employment reports. And number two, public employee discipline dismissal release under Section Government Code Section 54957.
We are back from closed session, and it is 10:25. Mr. Calderon?
Thank you, Madam President. We are reconvening from closed session at 10:26, and there was one reportable action taken in closed session. There was a motion by Trustee Aguilar, seconded by Trustee Valenzuela, to extend the meeting by 1 hour. The vote was 5. The motion passed 5-0. There was no other reportable action taken in closed session.
Madam President, may I, there was one item that I did not report during my superintendent's report that I'd like to report tonight.
Go ahead.
On Tuesday afternoon at about 2 o'clock, I met with the assistant district attorney, Joe Beard, at his office. District Attorney Otero is out of town for several weeks. I met with him and two of his associates. I presented him with copies of our original audit of Measure J and then the forensic audit of Measure J. And what was interesting is he already had a copy of the forensic audit. He said, I received it from the FBI. So we were wondering and speculating why the FBI was involved. Well, and just speculation, but since it was a bond and tax dollars, it could be that was why they were involved. We don't know for sure. He asked specifically if I was asking on behalf of the district for an investigation, and my response was a very quick yes. They are going to take it under advisement, look into it for the next couple of weeks. And my rationale was the same as we had discussed here, for them doing it because of their subpoena power, etc. And it was his opinion that if they're going to use the subpoena power, they really need to have a criminal grand jury involved. That's up to them at this point. It's in their hands. It's out of our hands. But I did what you as a board requested, and was pretty adamant that he said, do you have anything specific? I said, no. But, if it quacks like a duck and walks like a duck, there's a duck somewhere in there. So he said he would let me know in a couple weeks. As soon as I hear, I will report it to the board.
Thank you. Good report.
I believe the forensic audit we are putting the agenda, no? There was the backup documents. Forensic audit report is public documents.
Yes.
We put in the backups. Anybody can pull out.
Anybody can see it, right?
Okay.
The board accepted it as a document.
I just would like to encourage you, Dr. Fagali, to sit down with staff that's been here from when the audit and identify those staff members, both within the business office as well as in the superintendent's office, that were present during that time, so that you can provide a list of former employees for the district attorney's consideration.
Thank you. That's
for interviews.
We talked about that.
Mr. Fagali, 2010, December 1st week, we all, after we elected Mr. Norma Aguilar, Ms. Duarte and I, we went to a convention. A former superintendent, she had to run out to come back to Calexico after the the Almaral case, the former Grossbeck case, in the rebuild at the court, and the FBI was indicted. And the same week, the Saturday, we have shredding company here. They shredded the papers.
Well, Mr. Kim, that's probably a likelihood that it happened, because part of our problem and part of the DA's problem, as he said, there's so little to go on, and there's so little information that it's, and he, when I was there, I shared with him what we've all shared, is that they only had 3 reported oversight committee meetings in all that time, which was totally illegal. They had Mrs. Borgos as the vice chair, which is totally illegal, and she wasn't even know she was appointed till after it happened. So much of what you're saying probably occurred. That's what's going to make it that much more difficult. But maybe the credibility factor would be what Ms. Aguilar is saying, that if some of our people who were here at that time are willing to share their information, that would prove some credibility.
But my experience with the governments, when they have some corruption occur, all the employees, they have their shares. So in case of someone taking the kickback, not only the head guys taking. That department, everybody is taking some portion.
Okay. Since that's not on the agenda, it's not up for discussion at this point. Moving on to item K, action required employment reports. Item number 1, approved certificated employment report for August 8, 2012.
Motion to approve. Second.
Have a motion by Ms. Aguilar, second by Mr. Valenzuela. All in favor of the motion?
I didn't hear the motion.
To approve a certificated employment report for August 8.
Which one, the K1 or
Certificated.
K1.
Certificate?
Certificated.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
Aye. Aye. Motion passes 5-0. Item number 2, approve Personnel Commission classified employment report for August 8, 2012.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Aguilar, second by Mr. Valenzuela.
Discussion?
Discussion, Mr. Kim?
Yeah, I see the lots of layoff. Again, we have a lot of wrong spending and administration side, administrating costs. We lay off the employees is not right. So I'm gonna say no on the with the record to say is we have a bad.
Thank you.
Bad.
Mr. Valenzuela? Oh, well, we have a motion. We have a motion on the floor. Ms. Aguilar made the motion. Mr. Valenzuela seconded. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
No. Aye. Motion passes
No.
3-2.
No, followed by the wrong.
A simple
Mr.
no
Kim,
or yes will suffice, Mr.
You made
Kim.
your point.
Thank you.
Thank you. It is now 10:34. I call this meeting adjourned. Thank you. Good night.
The next meeting?